We are live. This is Internal Sadist and Yam uh, Yamcha, the philosopher, aka Baron Yam. We're going to talk about
aka the red pill peddler, aka a bitch's worst nightmare, aka MGTOW live program, aka Yamcha, aka Jam He, formerly known as Jam He. Yes,
yeah, we're going to talk about basically the short attention spans of people and introverts and extroverts and stuff during this lockdown for the most part is going to be the hallmark of this last stream.
yeah. I was just thinking about it. Like, do you ever recall of meeting an introvert with a short attention span?
Um, Actually, no. I've never actually met an introvert with a short attention span. I mean,
Yeah, and
extroverts with short attention spans, though.
yeah, I've met a lot. Like most of them, I think. It's funny. Like the other day, I was at work and I was just kind of in a position where I wasn't really doing a whole lot, but I was still on the floor um, with a lot of different people working, and one of them, one of the male coworkers is leaning over to a female coworker and they're talking, and then that male coworker goes to lunch, and so that female coworker doesn't have that person talking anymore, and I noticed like she was like looking for people, and so she kind of posted up near my register, and I told her, "Shoo, go away, go, go back that over there." And she was like, "Ah, no, no, you know what? I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay. I'm not going." And I just thought that was so interesting and pretty high and pretty indicative of like the pattern that I see a lot of people go through when they're like really extroverted and they constantly need attention. Um, and I think like the needing attention thing goes into the short attention span. Like why do a lot of people have short attention spans? Because it's almost like they rob a lot of other people of time because they're not really ready to go out and be comfortable being by themselves. So they hold a lot of people up, um, time wise and attention wise, because people are always having to pander to them, and it's just like frustrating for other people to see that. Um, and another example I like to pull on is like um, when people sort of come to you with a whole lot of questions and they actually are asking more and more questions and they don't really take time to listen. It's like sometimes you would rather be like robbed or physically assaulted than have somebody like waste your time for that long. Um, and it happens all the time. I see it happen all the time, and it's really sad because it's like this attention thing is like so valuable, and then a lot of people don't even have the ability to understand where the attention's going and like where why they need so much attention.
True, very true. And
Mm-hmm.
you also got to take into consideration too. We live in an attention-based society, and the sad part about that, I believe the reason why a lot of people's attention span are so short is due to the fact that um, when you actually break it down, women require a lot of attention and they want a lot of attention, and that's generally their social currency is attention, no matter how they can get it, as long as they can get it. They're basically like the politicians of human beings for the most part when it comes to like the
Mm-hmm.
relationship dynamics. They're basically politicians.
They're better at strategizing. Honestly, I mean they take a lot of L's. Or like they assess the L's that they take, and then they like create a system where they always win, like what
Mhm.
anybody would do, who understands the attention paradigm that we all live in, like you're saying. And they would come up with a system where they never lose. Um,
Oh, definitely, they always do. I mean, it's
they
just a
always
given.
win. Yeah.
They definitely do, and it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's kind of sort of crazy at the same time. Whereas where women can literally do this, and men like not really think very much about it, or
Oh, now it's like horror movie to me. If I witness that, it's like the rest of the day. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder like who hurt her, but like to put it shortly, but
Hmm.
like what kind of actions transpire for someone to have such a vicious way of relating to their environment? Like this person, like instead of saying I'm attracted to this person, let me act different. It's more like I need to belittle and you know and betray this person and throw them under the bus because like in order to feed off of the amount of attention
That
that
you're going to get
that
from
they're
it,
getting
literally.
that they're gonna get from it from other people too. It's like they're so smart, they're so cunning, and it's dark. Yeah, it's really dark when you think about it.
And it's very sad when it happens because like it happens so often, especially with a lot of women. Then there's a men growing up in this gynocentric era where they
Mm-hmm.
perceive or they believe that they should get all this attention because they grew up in a participation trophy era, which is kind of
Uh-huh.
crazy and funny at the same time. But it is what it is.
Yeah,
Like
I
they literally
once
grew
had
up
a
in a
woman
participation
brag to
trophy.
me. I literally once had a woman brag to me, like a young woman brag to me about like, oh, I'm from this country, you know, and uh, and I said, oh, you're from this country, so can you say this word like this? And I tried to like say a word in their language, and they got angry at me. They said, oh, I hate when I hear you say that, like, because you're just butchering it so bad. I said, well, I didn't actually. I ended the conversation right there. You know,
Hmm.
instead of getting mad, why don't you teach that person?
Yeah, and that's the problem. Nobody wants to teach anybody anything. They want to have something more to complain about versus actually showing people things and teaching people anything for the most part. Because it's it goes to show it goes to show their character when they can actually go off on somebody because they can for the most part versus actually teaching somebody something and helping them to learn some things for the most part. There's like two totally different dynamics when you actually do that. One is you
Yeah,
actually in bettering yourself and actually learning more about yourself by teaching somebody something and actually bettering yourself, improving yourself by becoming a better educator for the most part. And then the other one's basically you just being a condescending prick
yeah.
because it's pretty much a show of your character for the most part at that point if you're going to be like that or act like that towards other people for the most part. This is where a lot of people fail and a lot of people get shit wrong in a lot of the relationships and shit.
And like I think I mean, us getting the award, you know, the people who are role models, the coaches, the people behind the tournament. I mean, those people used to teach us about losing per se in this analogy, you know, and now they're gone. And what we have in place of it is just like, you get a trophy, you get a trophy. Everyone look under your chairs. It's all those trophies, and that's that's what we have to deal with. And now everyone feels entitled to like different shit, like stupid shit too.
Yeah, that's
Like you
sad.
think
It's
you
so
think
fucking
that you
sad.
should be able to, you know, demand service, fast, quicker service just because you're in a specific class, a protected class, a person. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It never does. But the problem is, though, there's a bunch of people in this world that believe that that's how it should be because that's how they were raised and stuff like that. It's kind of like how like a lot of the soccer leagues and like are getting away from the whole entire like everybody wins, everybody gets a trophy type mentality for the most part. And the sad part about that is while they're all trying to get away from it, like other places are actually still trying to promote the whole entire participation trophy trope for the most part. And you're basically making you're nothing doing nothing more than making the society whiny babies for the most part or unsophisticated animals for the most part by doing this because if there's no competition then there's nothing to strive for. If there's nothing to strive for, then you won't get people to grow. If there's no people growing, then a, a, a country will stay stagnant for the most part. So you
Uh-huh.
can't just be handing out free things for everybody for no fucking reason because that just proves that just proves to make it more so that it's not worth your time or it's not because basically it'd be like if everybody went to the Academy Awards, all the actors went to the Academy Awards, and they gave an Academy Award to everybody at the thing. That would devalue the freaking trophy or the award, if you know what I mean. If you're just giving out Academy Awards to everybody, that would devalue the award. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Uh,
Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of categories that make me question: was that like a last minute thing, or did they just want to come up with that so they can hand out more awards, basically? And a lot of times, I always
or
question
yeah,
that type
or
of
like
shit.
fill more
Yeah,
seats. Because that's the
yeah,
thing when you give somebody like if you're graduating somebody, that person brings their whole family,
hmm,
right? Or if you're winning a gold medal, that person's whole family comes. And so
yeah,
what you're doing is you're not giving the award to the kid, you're giving it to the parents, and you're
yeah. So
giving
the
it
first,
to the grandparents, you're giving it to that person's family, and that's how those individuals look at you now when you win an award, because it's like you're the crown, you're the crown child, uh, you're the prize, you're the person that they value the most in the family,
yeah.
because you just won an award, and that puts a it's like significant amount of entitlement onto you
Oh,
too.
definitely.
And
But then on top, oh,
people brag about shit all the time about what their cousin's sister or your like uncle or somebody has or somebody does.
oh,
You know,
definitely, all the time.
it's always a given.
Yeah, and the sad part
And
of, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. No, I was talking about like the awards and stuff that you give to the parents. And awards, like even when the parents mess up, it's still people are still rewarded. Like in this day and age, it's like they never really get to experience the consequences. Um, like 9 times out of 10, they don't really they don't really always get to pay for at least some don't.
Yeah, they definitely don't really get to do that or pay. I mean, it's like it's basically like, and the sad part about it, it's kind of like how they say with a lot of the black stars when they get famous and they get big and famous, they try to help their whole damn family and shit.
Right.
What's up, America's Deville? And they
Oh, that's up,
basically damn near
America.
go broke doing it, trying to help their mama, trying to help their daddy, trying to help their cousin, trying to help their friend, trying to help this person. The sad part about that is, and the sad part about that is what a lot of people don't realize about shit like that is, like by doing that, you're literally putting yourself back in a poorhouse. Like there's certain people that you can help, there's certain
Right.
people that you shouldn't help, and there's certain people that should only be should only be helped when they're actually helping themselves for the most part, because you're basically enabling people for the most part. And what's up, Shinobi One, and what's up, America's Deville?
What's up,
Um,
y'all? What's up, Americas? What's up, Shinobi One?
but yeah, it's just one of those things where you get into like so many different variables and so many different things that go wrong, especially if you're trying to help family members that don't
Mm-hmm.
deserve to be helped, or you're helping family members that like tend to do criminal shit. So now you're associated with that family member because you helped that family member,
Have a
and
problem. Yeah.
now that family member becomes a problem on your name for the most part. And like, and if you ever notice, a lot of these people, especially like people that are married or in relationships with women that do some stupid shit in public, they talk about, she's the wife of such and such, or she's the fiance of such and such, and they always try to blame that guy or that person,
Yeah.
that guy
Yeah.
that's in that they're married to for the most part, for their behavior. It's like they put the blame,
It's
despite the
like
fact
straight
that
from the
he's
same
not with
mouth.
her and she's out acting
Yeah.
a fool by herself. They put the blame on the guy who she's in a relationship with, if you're a famous person for the most part.
True. And whoever that woman's friends with too, they get
Oh yeah, definitely.
blamed for.
They're actually a reflection of you too. On top of that, so like, what you can't do is be sitting up there talking about like, um, I'm an independent woman, when in fact you're attached to somebody, and you're a direct image of that person, or you're a direct reflection of that person. The same goes for men who are married to women. A man is a direct reflection of that woman, and the sad part about that is a lot of
Right.
relationships today fail because people want to try to be individuals in something where you're supposed to be a team in, or they only think about themselves in something that you're actually supposed to be a team in, because they want to try
Yeah.
to be individuals. And the sad part about that is you're not individuals. You're a team now. You're a team player. You got to be a team player.
Yeah. Well, they get mind hijacked. I
Yeah, and it's like,
yawn.
You know, ideologies do wreak havoc on people's minds, and
Uh-huh.
like you start listening to one person, you start thinking you're the shit and shit like that. Next thing you know, it you're divorced and you're single and you're writing op-eds talking about I miss my husband, or where have all the economically
Yeah,
attractive men gone, or
those. Oh, gosh,
I'm
the ones
happy
like
with
I
all my
regret.
cats,
Oh, I
shit like
regret
that.
my decisions, but I
Yeah, I
don't
regret my
want the
decisions. But then,
responsibility.
like the sad part about it is, a lot of those stories they say I regret my decisions, but they go to blaming the husband for not fighting for them. Well, you wanted to leave. In this day and age,
Oh,
a woman's choice is a woman's choice. If we stop a woman, then we're wrong because we're hindering her growth. But you want us to fight for you in an age where like it's seen as wrong to make a woman or try to get a woman to do something that she doesn't want to do. Like, make that make sense to me.
well, it's like we have like, this self improvement culture too that kind of like makes discussing the nuances and stuff of everyday life. Like you can't really do that if everyone's looks maxing and you know
Yeah,
not really caring about just caring about how they look and how they feel because what we talk about usually is like not really getting too attached to the stuff in the real world. I mean, a lot of people just want to get away from that a lot of the time and it's kind of put on a pedestal nowadays. Like all that
yeah. Like everybody just wants
whole
attention,
attitude.
but nobody really wants. Nobody ever wants to actually earn the attention that they're getting. They just want the attention for free and shit. Um, it's just shit
Yeah.
like that that just blows my mind when you see shit like that happen, or when you see people just devolving in such debauchery, or you see wives talking about like he was smothering me, but you're going out with your friends every night of the week, but he's smothering you how? He's at work and he's smothering you how? Like you're literally like two ships passing in the night and he smothers you how? like you barely spend time with each other. It's kind of hard to smother somebody when you don't spend time with a person. Like I'm gonna need you to come up with a better excuse for why.
Right. And yeah, those true crime stories are terrible to hear, and it's like the interrogators they don't really get they usually don't get too deep into the family's life
True.
before before it happens before
Whatever,
like
America's.
trying to get guilt.
You love me, you know it, pimp. You love me, you know it.
What do you say?
he said, I regret associating with Tico.
Just denounce Tico.
Right.
Oh, that's so funny too.
Yeah, I know. Um, and to answer Shinobi one's question before we continue, yes, you can actually overdose on red pills. You absolutely can overdose on red pills. Um, and a lot of people do it on a very very regular basis. Like, because there's two ways you actually do it. You can either go through red pill rage, or you can overdose on red pills and go too far off the deep end for the most part. So like those are the two extremes to the red pill for the most part. So like I said, you can go far off the deep end by overdosing on red pills, or you can still remain in red pill rage. So you can go either way when you actually come out of rage. You can go straight to the deep end, or you can come straight to a happy medium for the most part. Everybody needs to be
Well, what does a red pill addict look like?
a red pill addict.
Because you're more into counseling and like psychiatry field. I don't really know anything about that field.
I would say the closest thing you can get to a red pill addict would be a nihilistic black pillar. Um, I'm trying to think of an actual content creator who's a red pill content creator
Well, wait,
that's
yeah,
literally
that's
overdosing on that's literally who I believe is literally overdosing on red pills. Um, sometimes when I watch them, sometimes Coach Red Pill does overdose on red pills. Every now and again, he will overdose on red pills. Um,
hmm
he's a good example of that. Sometimes a nihilistic black pillar overdosed on red pills. Um,
yeah. They basically fell into
they
the
fell into
they fell
dark.
into
It'd be no different than like if you overdose on pills in real life
yeah, right.
and you end up dead from overdosing on pills. That's pretty much your nihilistic black pillars. They pretty much overdosed on red pills and end up dying. Whereas Coach Red Pill overdosed on pills, and somehow, some way, that nigga's
And
still
he's
living.
fine. Yeah, I always think about those choice cases where it's like, yeah, that guy looks like he did like a few too many benders and red pill.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've looked at a lot of people who actually say that, and I'm like, wait a minute, how the hell? Like,
So,
how the
but
hell are you still
is it
alive?
is it
Like,
because I can't? Yeah, because I can't really formulate arguments that well. Does that mean I'm like black and nihilistic and like black pilled?
um, no, because the sad part about black pillars is they run on a common script, or they run on a small subset of like facts to society for the most part. It's kind of like how some MGTOWers or red pillars run on a small amount of facts. Like they'll talk about like the dating thing. They'll talk about the dating apps. The sad part about that is that's only a small fraction of the actual society on those apps.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
that'd be like
very
saying
small.
that'd be like saying
Very
10%
small.
or
Very, very small.
that's like 10. That'd be like saying 10% or 15% of the population basically is the whole entire population. It'd be like saying because Tico doesn't like chicken, all black people don't like chicken. You know what I
Let's
mean?
go over a list of averages in the dating app itself. So you have like the average height
Hmm.
of women on dating apps. You would say hovers probably on the lower end, like right,
Yeah, the lower end. And the sad part about that is only like
five.
12, only what like, I think it's what 12 to 10% of the population, or 9 to 12% of the population of men are 6 foot and over. Only
And
nine, only 9 to 12% of the population.
most of them
12.
probably met their significant others like at a bar, not on a dating app.
Uh huh. Hmm.
So that's like it's unrealistic to assume that everybody who is good looking gets action on dating apps because most of them don't even use them in the first place.
Here's my thing with dating apps. The thing about the dating apps is like if a woman is good looking and using a dating app, 9 times out of 10 she's probably using it to pass time or because she's bored. She's not really on there to date. She's probably going to link up, tell you to go check her out on Snapchat for the most part. That's typically what women do on these dating sites. They'll hook up their and like they'll pretty much make a profile on all the dating sites and they'll put follow me on Snapchat, follow me on, and this is how exactly how a lot of the women get a lot of their followers on Snapchat or Twitch or all these platforms for the most part. They literally advertise on dating sites to do it. So they're basically on there just to get more attention, and because they're and a lot of them do it because they're bored. And the sad part about that is the sad part about that the women who do that they actually are attention or are attractive. And there's sad part about there is
groupthink happen in those areas. Like they just like they move the rocks in the river to change the current and stuff, and they create groupthink. What did he say?
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
Into the Red Sea. Oh dang! America's is drowning in red information.
Yeah, the sad part about that is like you can drown in red information, but the sad part about that is you always got to be ready to bring your life vest to get the red pill information for the most part. So it's one of them things. It's one of them things where you can actually do it and survive. And the sad part about that, Americus, you never really overdosed on red pills. You actually for a lot of people that I've noticed, you're not as bad as a lot of people, or you're not as bad as like
you're not as bad as me.
You're not as bad as like a lot of people that go to the extreme basically. And I do see you in a lot of comment sections, but you're pretty even killed for the most part when I see you. Like in comment sections, you never really go above and beyond, or you never go too crazy in a comment section for the most part. Now, I will say, if somebody attacks you, you will defend yourself. That is very true. However, America's DeVille only really defends himself for the most part, or he's basically like me for the most part. Like, I don't really care what's going on, but if like you're going to try to shit on my character, then now I got to shit on you basically, or I'm gonna get one of my children to do it. So here comes these videos. And that's typically how I operate. So, like, America's DeVille teams that have the same temperament as I do when it comes to certain things, and Yam fell out. So I got to wait for him. But, yeah, that's typically how that works. Like, I don't really see you overdosing on pills.
Well, like, women are really bad storytellers. And, like, with the red pill, it's like some of us get that skill of, like, oh, let me be able to recount what happened to me correctly and then like probably the appropriate amount of responsibility. And then if
Yeah.
if you're overdosing on red pills, it's like you don't even take any accountability.
Oh, you
It's
don't
like
take any accountability at all.
you look at those people on the live streams and stuff, and you're like, wow, this person really needs their stomach pumped. Or you look at them anywhere and be like, damn, they need to like really the whole like or on their videos whenever if they were to publish videos and something like that, you're like, wow, that person definitely needs a stomach pump.
Yeah,
Because
like you can usually tell with people like that because they tend to be the people. I'm not bringing up any names, but they tend to be the people who don't think their shit stinks, or they think that they're better than everybody, or they think that they have like this savior victim complex for the most part. It's the same thing that goes for It's the same thing that goes for a lot of the men. It's the same thing that goes for the same thing that women do for all intents purposes when they say like, oh well, all men are this or men are this or this person's this or this person's this, and then when you respond to them, oh my god, you offended me, I need my safe space. That's literally what a lot of these people do. A lot of these a couple of content creators that I've actually watched over the many years, especially in this last year. I'm not going to say any names. Do in live streams, it's like, dude, like I'm gonna need you to take that person's dick out your mouth and actually go on about your merry way. Like, I don't care what your beef is with that person. Like, don't be bringing it on my shit. Keep your beef off my shit, basically. And that's typically how I operate. Like, I don't feel like carrying your beef. That's your beef. You need to handle your beef on your own time. This is Tico's time. We not handle your beef for you.
They're like hold my beef for me, please.
Yeah, no, I don't hold people's beef. Like, unless the person that they're beefing with is being a total dickhead. And I will make comments on the person if they are being a total dickhead. But if they're not, then I'm gonna need you to keep your own beef to your fucking self. Basically, it's the beef of your motherfucking self.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. It's sad that I mean, I don't even really relate it to the movie anymore. I just think about it in terms of somebody who's just flown off the handle and like doesn't know how to take responsibility because they're looking for taking responsibility, man. It's just it's tough, and it usually brings like that attention paradigm crashing down wherever it is that you do that.
True, very true.
And I don't see that happening with a lot of people who have overdosed on the red pill. Like I said, I think it's time to pump the stomachs.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because a lot of people get like ridiculous with this shit, and they get like they go way overboard on this shit, and it's like, yeah, we need to do this. I'm gonna need y'all to chill the fuck out. I'm gonna need y'all to take some Ativan and go sit over there in a corner some damn where, because y'all niggas is getting crazy. Like, I'm gonna need you to take this Ritalin and sit in the corner, because like y'all motherfuckers just be on some shit. Like,
dude, Ritalin is one of those things for me because that's basically what I had to take when I was like a kid or something because they didn't all the Karens that were my teachers just couldn't handle it. They were like, "You're too crazy," and that's because I would speak in different accents like the whole entire day. Didn't even matter. I was such a snotty, snot-nosed kid about like stuff, and they were just like, "All right, we need to put this kid on something." Get him some. Like, I forget what I tried. I'm pretty sure I tried Stratera, Concerta.
oh, good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and the sad part about that is they put a lot of kids on those medicines. And the sad part, if you ever notice, back in those days, most of the kids that they put on those drugs are men or boys. Like predominantly boys, or if not all the most of the times. If it was 90, if it wasn't 90%, it was 100% of the time. It was nothing but boys on that medicine. That was like very rare.
You're like to find a girl like that taking that in college is like nowadays to get a paper done or something. But girls, young girls, they don't need Ritalin.
Oh yeah, no, apparently not. Even though they probably have attention span of a gnat, they don't need Ritalin. Whereas they'll put a boy on Ritalin for the most part. And the sad part about that is it's basically all to control the boy and make them more docile and make them. Because like the sad part about that is like a good example of that is Laszlo, because Laszlo is very good and very intelligent. Instead of actually challenging him, this is the school that I had him in before I put him in the school that he's in now. This is the one that accused him of tried to Me Too him because he didn't want to be in the Romeo and Juliet play. Now, mind you, he was 5 at the time, so make sense for me. It's like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
once again, the parents are the ones who get all of the accolades when they're handed to the child. That's a, it's all
yeah.
about comes down to family at the end of the day.
And the sad part about that is they
Yeah.
and schools literally try to like sue or try to get child protective services if you don't agree with them to put your children on this medication basically. So like there's a whole entire thing that goes into this. If you don't comply with us, we're going to call child protective services because obviously it's negligence, and that's what they try to use on a lot of parents, and a lot of parents fall for that shit and they capitulate to that shit for that reason because they get scared for negligence because if child protective services come in now you got to either a change what you do or you got to make
Yeah.
it seem like you're
Like,
actually not that person that they're actually trying to paint you out to be. And
you need a good lawyer or lawyers.
well, now they ain't trying to pair Lazo with a super ratchet because Lazo goes to school in a affluential neighborhood, so they were trying to pair him with a Karen's child basically.
Yeah, dude. It's like parents' kids always have to be foisted up there or get the participation trophy, or else Karen's gonna fucking burn the entire soccer field.
Oh yeah, definitely. Or she's going to probably try to take away
She's gonna
funding for the
start,
new building or some shit like that.
squirting the orange slices that she cut from this morning into people's eyes.
Oh, that is a good one. Romeo and Juliet. Juliet.
Holy yeah.
Juliet. I like that. That's a good one, Americans. Shinobi one even likes that good one. But yeah, they try to pair him with one of Karen's children, basically, because she believed that her child was so beautiful, and apparently, according to them, Lazo's handsome. I don't really think Lazo handsome because I'm his dad, and I don't want him to have a big ass head. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a good looking kid, but I'm not going to tell him that shit because I don't want him walking around thinking he's a shit. I'll definitely his fucking ego in a heartbeat. But yeah, it's just shit like that.
The thing is like that kind of stuff. At school, I avoided because like I said, I got put on those behavioral meds, and that made me basically like unappealing emotionally. Like no kids really wanted to hang out with me and stuff. So I really like when I was like growing up, I would just like get red pilled so many times. That I think I might have overdosed a couple of times, but didn't even actually like how people have micro tears or like micro heart attacks and stuff. I think I was getting like micro red pills or something. I don't know.
And the sad part about that is like when you get your first red pill, it might seem like you're actually having a heart attack. It's basically like if you take something for the first time or try something for the first time and Yam fell out again. Yeah. I'll wait for him to come back. Yeah, it's basically like if you take something for the first time or try something for the first time, your heart races because you're worried about it in this anticipation, basically, because you never did it before. This is kind of like when
You don't
people
have a
take Mountain Dew,
tolerance.
try Mountain Dew for the first time, basically, never drank Mountain Dew a day
Yeah,
in their life.
that
Their heart
that
starts
Juliet
fluttering and their
stuff.
heart starts beating very
Yeah,
quickly, basically.
uh-huh.
Um,
That Juliet stuff is like that Juliet stuff is the damsel in distress, but painted in a city, and it's like medieval, but it's just this weird. It's just a weird trope. And then for somebody like Romeo, who's like basically like I don't know, Romeo is pretty red. Like I don't know, he's insulated. He has a what? How did you say? A support system.
yeah,
He's
they
not
both
just
had
some
support
random.
systems.
But
Wasn't both
but
their
I'm saying
families?
like
Didn't both their
no
families
no no
hate
no.
each other?
No, I'm talking about. Well, I'm going to America's DeVille's point. Like a
Hmm.
lot of women nowadays, they don't really have a support system because they don't give a fuck about any having maintaining a relationship with anybody. They're like, boo, I don't speak broke. Who hurt you? Oh, he's struggling. Why are you struggling? Like they always judge every man and woman and child that comes in front of them, and they don't really have that kind of thing that you would say like, oh, Juliet, what brings me lost to their moonlight, they face. It's like no women like that. No women are like that nowadays. Like you'd be shocked if you actually saw somebody like that. They would be a two. They would be a 2-3 or like a two or like a 3-3. They would be something
Yeah.
like that.
No, the sad part about they wouldn't even be a 3-3. Those women tend to be like trash women anyway, so like they're not 3-3s. Um, they tend to be like
Fair.
1-2s or 1-3s, and they think they're like 2-2s or 3-3s or 3-1s and shit like that. And the sad part about that is what a lot of people don't realize is like women's value is based on their own perception of themselves for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Women,
they're
they
only
don't
as
have a feel color.
they're only as valuable as every. It's basically like women are basically like alpha males or people who call themselves alpha males. If nobody
Yeah.
acknowledges you as an alpha male, then you're probably not an alpha male. It's just facts.
Hmm.
If women live in like this, it's kind of like the one video I put up where the one old woman was looking in the mirror at a younger version of herself. That's typically women in a nutshell for the most part. When they look in a mirror, they see that 15, 16,
Right.
17, 18-year-old version of themselves for the most part. And that's typically how that works. Like they believe that they're beautiful all the time. Hence why they wear makeup. If they're so beautiful, they wouldn't have to wear makeup.
Yes. Yes.
If they're so beautiful, they wouldn't need all the hair extensions, their hair done, or they wouldn't need all the nails and the nail salons and shit like that. If they were so beautiful, they wouldn't need the push-up bras or the pants or the Spanx or the the body shapers or the yoga pants to make themselves look attractive. If they were as
Yeah.
beautiful as they really are. And the sad part about that is no different than like how older folks used to say, television, tell lies through vision. Basically, that's women. Tell lies through vision.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
pretty
because
much what
if
a
they were
woman is.
really honest, because it's like, oh, I'm honestly trying to improve myself and make myself look the best I can, with like a
Well, the sad
filter.
part about that is there's this thing called the gym. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to get naked, all that shit's going to fall the fuck out.
I was gonna say, Tico, like the more honest thing to do would just be walk around naked.
Like if you're trying to improve yourself, there's thing called the gym and personal trainers that can actually
Yeah.
help you improve yourself. It's the problem is with a lot of women is instead of actually putting in the effort and time to actually do so, they don't. So they take shortcuts because that's just too much work and their finite amount of time day when they actually have all the time in the world to actually do this shit, but they make it seem like they don't have any time at all.
Oh no, they have no time, and it's like they don't even have time
The sad
to
part about that, a lot of times they have
improvise
more time than
a
you
joke.
have. But they don't want to waste that time on, improving themselves. They want to point at everybody else. It's basically like how the body positivity movement is basically trying to shame everybody into liking women that are of that type. Instead of shaming
Yeah,
people
because
into
like
actually
I don't really ever
like
get lonely, and the thing is, like, I don't really ever get lonely like that. And like what I noticed when I was in school is like when I would talk to people that are leftist, they would kind of like paint these people out to be, oh, and people are so deprived of their their capabilities and their dignity when they are transgendered or they do things. I was like, you're basically saying like transgender people have problems.
yeah.
Okay, what else? Like everybody has problems. It's like
Oh,
what
definitely.
exactly are you saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's
Everybody
why
has
and that's why
problems. The
it's like,
problem is what are
and
you
I,
trying to
I
actually
I
get at?
looked at most of the you look at most of the things that they try to teach in school, and you're like, this is a loaded gun that you can just point at anything and then go pop bang until the pull until the trigger goes click, and then all of a sudden that's the vehicle of oppression. You could point it at white folks, you can point it at black folks, midget folks, you could point it at anybody. It doesn't matter. They'll they'll always fit like a vehicle of oppression somehow. And it's like that's the group think that makes it so where like a lot of you could even use women as examples. Sometimes they always support her. Like I said this one thing about a stranger, and this girl looks back to sort of confirm, oh, her backpack isn't that small. It's like, wait, you had to look over there to get to correct me because you want to support her. And she's like, she flat out said yes. And I was like, why? Who is that person?
Yeah,
Who
like for real.
the fuck is
Like
that person? You don't know that person. They could be a killer. You're just like, I want to defend her.
Yeah,
So
literally.
do
And that's the sad part. Like women do that a lot. Like women will defend the most valid of vow because they think they can change people or they think they can fix things. And the sad part about that, they get mad when men fix things because that's what men do. Like it's like there's one article where like women was complaining about like, we just want men to listen to us. We don't want them to try to fix everything. We want them to listen. Well, the problem is that's what men do. Men fix things. That's what we
Yes, and
do.
they listen. But the thing is,
We don't
like,
we
we don't
listen and we try to
listen.
fix
We
it.
don't
But the sad
listen.
part about
No,
that, we stop listening to you and we don't want to
we
hear
don't
you
listen.
when you
Yeah, we
don't
don't
want to
listen
have any
anymore past
solutions.
a certain past a certain point. You've run out of material. We stop listening. I
Yeah.
could even still be there and not be listening.
Oh hell yeah. There's a lot of people that could do that shit. Hell, I've been known to
Yeah.
do that shit sometimes too. Shit. But the sad part
Just
about
tune,
that
you tune them
is,
out.
huh?
I said you just tune them out,
Yeah,
basically.
I tend to do that sometimes
Yeah.
too. Like
Or let shit slide because you don't care. Like, I don't
yeah,
care.
like yeah, or like I'll go watch a live stream while I'm in the middle of a live stream.
Right.
What's up, Jay MGTOW? But yeah, it's just shit like that that just like just blows my mind when it comes to certain people. Like they don't want to improve themselves; they just want to bitch and complain about every damn thing. And the sad part about that is like I'm all about solutions. I want to find a solution. If you're not willing to find a solution, then I don't want to talk to you about any fucking thing. Because I'm all about solutions. How can we fix this? Well, Tico, I just want to brag about this for a little bit while I'm not talking to you and Tico's out. Like Seacrest, Tico out. Literally. And that's typically how I deal with a lot of shit. Because I don't feel like dealing with like bullshit basically. If we're not talking about solutions,
What up,
then don't
Jay
talk to me at
MGTOW?
all. That's exactly how I feel about a lot of shit. And people get mad at me when they go, "Well, Tico, I don't understand how you can be like this." And well, yeah, because there's no solutions going on, so y'all don't obviously need me.
What is there to
Y'all just want
understand,
to have a big
sweetheart?
circle. Y'all just want to have a big circle jerk, basically,
I'm
on
not
y'all
gonna
fucking
sit here
feelings to
and
validate
teach you how
yourselves.
I do shit. I'm like out of my mouth for however God knows how long that's gonna take. There's like a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that you just don't want to have to explain
Oh yeah,
to
definitely
people.
not shit. Because like I
And
don't
it's
want to
like
sit here.
the
If you're not willing to
participation
better
trophy
yourself,
thing. Yeah, participation trophy makes it so they get to ask the dumbest questions. They don't have they have the authority to hold you up on something that doesn't even fucking matter.
oh yeah, definitely, all the time. People do that all the time. It's sad, but like that's
Yeah.
what they do. Because
Yeah.
without that, they wouldn't be any damn thing. Because they need something to hold you up on because they don't have anything valid about themselves to actually remotely hold anybody up on for the most part. And it's just sad. It's a very sad state of affairs when people can't even, you know, do shit that actually helps them. They got to do shit that actually literally like that doesn't even benefit them. They want to do shit. They want to complain about shit for the most part all the damn time. And the sad part about that is, it's one thing if you don't want to apologize. I mean, it's one thing if you don't want to apologize, or if it's one thing if you don't want to have to explain. But the sad part about that, though, is if you don't want any resolution to your problem, that's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool. Like, no apologies, no explanation. If you just want to just vent and just say some shit and not want any resolution, then that's cool. That's you. Do you. However, if
Yeah.
you want resolution, but you don't want to explain the problem going on for me to actually give you a better options to help you remedy your problem, then you're a trash person. It's just facts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how I feel about that. Like, you can't be sitting up here talking about, well, Tika, I just wanted to do this. Well, no.
I mean, I'd to be honest, like, to be more positive, like, as long as you're not a trash person, I can view you, even though you have a ton of fuck ups, I wouldn't really judge you against that. But as soon as you start to become that trash person, it's like it doesn't even matter if you have everything you want in life. It's like
Yeah.
that's the way that they view or that's the way that they like behave in society, and it's just crazy. Like, as a person or as an individual, like interpersonally, they might be cool, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just a different mentality that the way that some people view the world, it's different than when you're just talking to them or when you just have to interact with them You know, they could be cool people, but at the same time, if if you're if you acknowledge that you have like made some fuck up decisions, and you're trying to work towards it, I will totally help you through
Oh,
any of that
definitely,
stuff.
most
You know, like,
definitely.
that's what I would say. I could actually we could benefit from each other because that's we have two different perspectives. We view things differently.
Almost definitely, because like if you're
Mhm.
not willing to help yourself, then I'm not willing to be there for you. If you're willing to help yourself, I'm all there. Let's get it. Like, let's do
Right,
this. Let's do
right.
this. Like, but if you're not going to better yourself, then what is the?
Tico fear, baby.
But if you're, but if you're not going to, if you're just there to just be there just to be a dick, then why are we even doing this? Why are we even in this? What are we doing? Like, literally, what are we doing?
Yeah, yeah. That's I made like some of those videos in the past, kind of apologizing or doing this, like I'm posting, be it reacting to my own content and stuff, and I always knew that that was off form for what I would normally do because most of the time you just hit record and then you go with what go with your gut feeling. That always that always like stood out to me in terms of like my videos because I hope I get to make even more. I usually make a video a day,
Yeah, and the sad part about that is you
so
try your best to. So it's like,
yeah,
what are you literally trying to
I
do?
yeah.
Or what is the purpose, basically? I mean,
It well I don't even know the purpose behind it. It's just like I'm trying to I try to get attention. I guess get attention. No, but not
yeah,
me. I don't really want. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think taking a back seat would be probably better for a while.
yeah. Taking a back seat sometimes good. Like
Yeah,
it's
for
sometimes
sure.
beneficial and good. And the sad part about that is what a lot of people don't know is like there's a lot of people that's willing to take that back seat, like me, to actually so people can better themselves for the most part because
Uh-huh.
you don't always need to be out there. The unsung hero, the best heroes are usually the people that are behind the scenes, pulling strings to make sure that another man is okay, or another person makes it, or another person is basically in the clear, or doing. I mean, in the right or in the clear, health wise, emotionally wise, and shit like that. So you don't always need to be out there talking about I did this, I did that. I'm all about this. I'm this, that, and the other. No,
Yeah,
that's
right. Don't
like you don't need
apologize.
to
Yeah.
you don't need to advertise that shit at all. Like you don't need to do that. Like sometimes the best deeds are the deeds that you do when nobody's looking.
Right.
That nobody needs to know. That you need to keep to yourself, basically.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because at that point in time, if you're going to advertise it, you're basically doing nothing more than virtue signaling that you're a great person.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you might have did a great thing, but at the same time, you're kind of sort of a trash person in a process because you want to
Yeah.
everybody
Right.
to know what you just did or your accomplishments and shit like that. It's nothing. It'd be like if a woman basically said, if you're dating a woman and you ask her to tell you about herself, or you know, like tell you literally about herself, and all she talks about is her degree.
Yeah. Right.
Like, where did you grow up? Do you have a
Hmm.
church family, or are you the only child? That's what I want to know. I don't care about your degree. I want to know actual things about you, like the neighborhood you grew up in, your parents,
Hmm.
your your family, your family dynamics. Your mom and dad still together? Your siblings. Do you have any siblings? Like shit like that. I
Yeah.
don't give
And
a damn about your damn
it's just
degree.
like yeah, it's just like stick jabs and stuff like, oh, you're stupid. And it's like, but just because you have a degree doesn't mean you get to like make me feel dumb just because of what you know. That's just such
Yeah,
BS. Like, no. In what world does that qualify you to like make me feel like I'm an idiot?
yeah,
That's like I wouldn't sit here just dissecting how stupid you are and shit all day. So why do you do that to me?
yeah. And the sad
It's
part
like
about
get
that is
past
what a
that.
lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. What a lot of people don't realize about that shit is like by you advertising your shit, you're doing nothing more than virtue signaling and telling everybody that you're a valuable person. Okay, that's nice, but the sad part about that is if you got to advertise that you're a valuable person, you're probably not a valuable person. You're a trash person, basically. which goes along with the whole entire thing. You're a trash person if you got to tell everybody how great you are, and like you shouldn't have to tell people how great you are. People should know how great you are.
Oh
Like
yeah, that's they get that sucks. And but I mean, I just failed to realize the part of that that's in apologizing all the time. Not necessarily like right like in it, kind of like every once in a while I do that. But I mean, it's no excuse. But I've actually known how to do that personally, just because I've from like singing and stuff. I realized that if something doesn't go right, you should just at least take it the same way that you would take if it does, because it's like you're learning all the
yeah,
time. And I always ask people, oh, do you play an instrument or something? I'll ask them or probe them and see, because if they have a viewpoint that I find controversial, it might not necessarily be that I disagree with them. It's just that I don't understand their perspective, and I will need to learn from them. How I'm wrong about certain things, because I couldn't account for them before. So I'll be like, did you play an instrument? How do to try to get to see how, if someone has that connection with
yeah.
themselves.
Like
And then
basically,
if
it's
they're
like
just basically spouting is something that I don't agree with, but and they're not really, I could just say that they've heard it from somewhere else.
yeah. And the sad part about
Like
that is,
they're like parroting it almost. They're parroting it.
yeah, most definitely. And the sad part about that is, like at the end of the day, you can't just go off of what your accomplishments. Your accomplishments are a small part of who you are. Like your accomplishments really mean nothing to a lot of people half the time. Because if you're always gloating about your accomplishments, that's all you are. Your accomplishments. What is it about you? You're the one dimensional person. If all you can talk about is your accomplishments for the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
part.
exactly. You
So
got to be able to talk. You got to be able to like humble yourself in public, because otherwise, if you don't humble yourself in public, then you don't humble yourself like in your home with your family members who actually care about you.
oh, definitely, most
It's like,
definitely.
and
And the sad part
that's
about that,
something
people
that's terrible.
people have a problem with doing that because they can't do that, and it's like too hard for them to do for the most part. So
Hmm. And I think, like I said, it's the attention span that I think puts me at odds with other people, because they won't know that I'm thinking about something that I've been thinking about since this morning, or 2 days ago, or 2 years ago, when I started thinking about it, and I'm still trying to think about that one thing. It's not
hmm
it's not like I can just like focus on you, all the little things that you want every time you come over. You need something. I can't do that because I don't have that kind of attention span where I can just, I'm sorry, what did you want? Oh yeah, okay, I'll do it all for you. What else do you need? You need money or something like that? That stuff, I'm not capable of that stuff anymore. Or like I can't get I like it's hard for me to get entranced in that stuff anymore, because it's just like so intoxicating from before, when you first are experience it, as opposed to when you like now you see it happen when you're out in public, and it's sad, and it all leads into it all leads back to you thinking more. You just thinking and thinking and thinking, and then meanwhile, this person just wants to tell you all that they've accomplished and stuff, and get patted
yeah,
on the head for it, and then you're just like, no, why would I do that? Why can't you just think about that stuff to yourself?
hmm
You know, that's the kind of stuff that I already think about when I post content, because I'm like, why are you doing this if you actually feel good inside? That's how I critique, as I say, what is the overlying purpose? So when you ask that, I kind of like did again, lost the thread of the conversation, because that's something I think about a lot. It's like, why did I post a video? What's the purpose of why I post a video? Yeah,
and
that's
people
basically
lose.
all I go
A
through
lot
my
of
head.
people lose track of that on why they do things for the most part, and they try to substitute it for like they care or something along the lines of that. Um,
Well,
the
they act
problem
like
with
they
it is
care,
like
but they
you
really
got to
don't
stop
care.
trying to actually overcompensate or trying to do shit to basically better yourself for no reason. When in
Yeah.
fact, like if you
accept myself or like accept yourself or something, accept yourself for your flaws and move on.
And the sad part about that is like people don't want to accept their flaws, or by always promoting their accomplishments, they don't have to focus on their shortcomings or their embarrassments or their everything that makes them human beings. They try to make themselves sound super, or like they're a superhero basically, and they have
Hmm.
themselves the superhero complex basically to um make themselves seem like they're cooler people than what they really are. And the sad part about that is if you focus so much time on improving yourselves instead of telling everybody how great of a person you are, you would be a better human being all around. You wouldn't have to gloat about how great how well you
How
did in
great
school, or your
your last job was, or
or
something
yeah,
like
your greatest your promotion and shit
yeah,
like that, or
or
your
how yeah.
education level, or what you went to school for and shit like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to gloat
Hmm.
about shit like that if you actually
No,
improve
you don't.
yourself. You don't
Yeah.
need to at all in the least bit. And the sad part about that, that lets people know that you're a worthy human being of people's time for the most part. And you're not just here to waste people's time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't normally see somebody who's like sitting quietly reading a book all of a sudden start gloating about something. It's just something I notice, or at least I guess don't notice.
Yeah,
Usually that person's really focused and trying to understand something about the world inside of that book, and not really focused on what other people think about them in the world. It's just like it makes you a shit customer.
oh yeah, it
If
definitely
like
does.
you gotta if you
Especially
gotta
when you don't
yeah,
pay attention.
yeah, and you're like, oh, it's your fault I don't pay attention to stuff. Make you feel bad about it. So, chickens.
Shinobi Wan is a trip. They said what he say? He say I bet she can't wait 5 minutes and log in with another account and cry to Tika. Cry what to Tika? Show me those in chat.
Crocodile.
It's funny as hell. Like so apparently they timed her out for like a couple minutes basically.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and apparently I think Jay MGTOW actually blocked her at one point. So, like I actually got to go to jail, YouTube jail when this is
Jericho
over
said,
to
"Yup."
free her from jail and shit. Yeah, Jay MGTOW
And
blocked her.
every single time Jay tells in the chat, it's like, oh my, what the is going on? This person again. Oh my god, just shake my head. It's like, yup,
Obi-Wan Shinobi. They called him
yup.
Obi-Wan Shinobi. Yeah, Shinobi Wan is a trip. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. Um,
Uh,
it's just stuff like that that just makes it worthwhile. When I'm like, because I'm all about a person improving themselves. I don't want you to use any short-term fixes. I want to actually see that you're actually improving yourself. It'd be basically like, why help a person who's a drug addict and just give them
mhm.
something that he's basically going to resell and buy drugs with? Like, why would you do that? You're basically feeding that person's habit. Why would you
Oh
feed that
yeah,
person's habit?
I would not want to be doing that. And it's like, yeah, the false drawing false conclusions is the worst thing that can happen to somebody, because then they're giving that information to other people, and those people are taking that information and building on top of that and into that, and then it's like they can even agree with one another, and it just spirals they start spiraling too out of control into the attention paradigm, because it's addictive.
Oh,
All the
definitely. It's
attention you
very
get from
addictive.
videos is like a drug, so it has to be managed, and sometimes you have to hand that off to someone else before you get to it, deep into it.
Yeah.
I think like red pill disposal should be a whole entire field, because it's like sometimes the red pills get left around for people and people just end up taking them, and they're not in the right place or time to actually do it, and it messes with their head, you know, kind of like what happens to a lot of young red pillers, young
Yeah.
people who take the red pill. or who start off blue pill, but then they take the red pill.
Yeah, it's like we were saying at the beginning of this video. It's basically like there's two different things that could happen to you when you take red pills like that. You can either end up being you could just be going through red pill raids for a good period of time, or you can be a red pill overdoser for the most part. And there's a good number of red pill overdosers just as much as there are a good number of red pill ragers out there that think
Yeah.
they're finished raging or think they're finished
Yeah.
or to think they're not really overdosing. It's kind of like you don't think you have a problem while you're going through the problem for the most part.
Red pill course guidelines. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's like, and the sad part about that is there are a lot of people, like I said, like there's a lot of people that don't believe that they have the problem. But the sad part about having a problem is you actually have to admit that you have this problem that you need fixing for, or that you have to take the necessary steps
But
to actually
there
fix.
comes the virtue signaling again. Like I hear it coming. I hear it. Like that's the next thing after you don't
Yeah.
take responsibilities. You start virtue signaling. You're like,
Well, the sad part about that is it's kind of like the one guy that pissed me off because like he basically went to McDonald's to buy some food so he can actually give it to homeless people, and he wanted me to take pictures and make video live on his Facebook, basically letting everybody know what he did. I wanted to break that dude's phone and like stab him with the fucking screen. Like legit. Like, cause no, dude, no. When you do something good, you do something good to do something good. You don't do something good to show everybody that you're good. You're a trash human being when you do that shit. And it's basically no different.
I would do stuff bad to show people it so they know that I'm like actually. They know that if they see me doing something good in public, they're like, "Wow, I am in a rare sight right now."
Yeah. And the sad part about that though is like you shouldn't have to display that in public. That should be a private thing that you should be doing with you and another person, basically. I'm not saying it's like sexual or anything like that, but like you're helping somebody. I'm pretty sure that person doesn't want to be on camera. All because you want them to be your little plaything or your pet project, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're being very disrespectful to the person you're helping for the most part by doing it.
Sure. By putting them on camera.
Yeah, like putting them on camera and taking pictures, talking about look what I did. It's no different than all the goofy ass stars who go to like countries and take pictures with African children and shit like that, and try to adopt African children and shit like that when you should be helping your own fucking children.
Right. It's like I was watching Daughters of Da Nang. It's a documentary about Vietnam. And they literally like airlift babies out of there, like by the hundreds. It's like on over to the United States. Your new mom is Karen. Congratulations.
Yeah, literally.
You
and
get
that's
to
the
live
sad part.
in Karen, Oklahoma, and drink Karen juice, and go learn how to be like Karen, garden, sew, knit.
And that's the sad part. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's sad.
That's what exactly makes it sad. Like you're just basically exploiting a certain group of people
because they're cute.
To make yourself seem like you're really, really cool for the most part.
Look how cool I am! Wow, yeah, God, I hate that guy. That guy's terrible.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because like I half the time I want to slap that guy or choke that guy or punch that guy out, basically. Like it's just shit like that just blows my mind. Like, dude, do it because it makes you feel good. Don't do it because everybody
dress up. Don't dress up. Don't dress up because you want to be cool.
This is not a dress rehearsal.
No, it's not. No.
Like I'm gonna need you to actually be that
dress
person.
well. Dress well. If that's just like who you are. Don't dress well to impress.
Oh, definitely never do that.
Impress. Never dress to impress.
Oh, never do that. That's just ridiculousness. Why would you? Like, why? And it's just like you. People are a trip though, and it just blows my mind how people can get into certain things.
Yeah, I mean, I have yet to reach it like the end of my red pill journey. So.
Well, the thing about red pill journeys is you never reach the end of it. It's a continuous process. It's a continuous learning process. And what a lot of people don't realize about it is Like you never end that process. It's always a continuous process because it's all about continuous learning. That's basically what it is. It's continuous learning no matter what. It's basically like you're not going to sit there and like let's say
Right. And it was funny because it's like sometimes when people start to learn in a discussion, no, be it anywhere, sometimes they want to stop it short. They're like, I'm learning too much. I don't want to learn I don't want to learn I don't want to see how far this conversation could go.
the sad part about that is like learn. There's no such thing as learning too much. No, you can
Right.
overload on learning because at that point in time,
That's red pill rage.
the sad part about that is like you can get people that they'll actually say some stupid shit like that. But the sad part about that is like you can overload on knowledge because ironically there's like a time limit for people to actually pay attention before they stop paying attention, and then you legally have to take a break. It's kind of like how people say, "Well, I studied for like 8 hours," or "I studied for 6 hours." No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You probably studied for about.
You sat on your phone for 6 hours and then
Yeah, like you probably studied for like about 15, 20 minutes.
Attention.
15, 20 minutes. I'll give you 30 minutes max. The rest of the time, you probably text your friends. You probably tried on some clothes. You probably did some other shit. You probably went to sleep. You probably, played on the computer. You probably went out with your friends. You probably were on the phone with your friends. You did not study for 8 hours.
Oh my God.
You did a lot of other shit in 8 hours, basically.
Yeah.
Because nobody pays attention to that shit. Nobody can pay attention to studying for that long.
Yeah, like FOMO. They get FOMO.
Yeah, like you can't do that.
I think sometimes the media acts like FOMO, like they don't want to miss out on all the juicy this story, so they just like inundate us with the details, and they like laboriously regurgitate and recycle the details into more details.
Yeah, and there's just stuff like that just blows my mind.
Yeah, I think if you stop looking at that stuff, it's easier for you to safely wake up, which is a shout out to Thomas Sheridan. He's a author, and he's like written so much about waking up safely. That's something that if you're not aware of it, if you're like feel like you're going through the red pill overdose, you should definitely look into his works, because they will they will humble you. He's been on YouTube for a very long time.
Yeah,
much longer, and he's been like he's contributed other stuff than just YouTube videos. So like if he's not just a random YouTuber. He actually has like substantial following. He just hit, I think, something like 170,000, or I don't even know. He just hit a new number of subscribers. He posted in a video recently, and so his channel is doing really well. You guys should go look at it. I'm plugging him in this late night live stream. Go check him out.
Yeah. I'm gonna say when it comes, if she's not really doing anything stupid, don't block her. Just let her go. If she's not doing nothing too crazy, basically, just let her be herself in the chat, basically. Yeah, she's behaving herself and she's not going too crazy. Don't block her.
Yeah. I mean, really, Penny should get on the panel so that she's not really engaging with the comments during no auction. But I mean, obviously, I don't know. Did you send an invite for that?
No, actually, I actually don't have any contact for her for no auction, basically. So she's invited anytime. My emails are at the bottom of all my videos. If she wants to be in a no auction, she could be in a no auction.
Yeah, just let somebody know. Yeah, we can make that happen. We can make anything happen here on the Tico trend.
She wants to be on no auction. She can come anytime she wants. Oh, but Tico are fun. Listen to Sean Obi-Wan.
You are now listening to.
Yeah, no, I have had experience with her. She does that a lot. She's fine. Like as long as she's not getting crazy in the comment section, she's fine.
Yeah, and we got off topic because of that, but that's totally fine.
Yeah, it's like
and then the kind of like a lot of things that relate back to the discussion we were having before are kind of like examples how they'll pretend like they didn't know what you were talking about when you try to make a reference to something that literally just happened, and they'll do
Hmm.
stupid shit like they'll they will judge a book by its cover, but then they'll blame you if you do that, and it's like, but I'm trying, and when you're trying to respond to them, and then they'll do stuff like, they will and that's kind of all of that stuff falls under, I would say, basically virtue signaling,
Hmm.
because it is all attention, and it's none of it is really nuanced. It's really all dismissible in a formal, like, once you like deconstruct it. And so that's why I agree with Dennis's theory, which is like, if you can the better you can deconstruct women around you, the easier it'll be to avoid uh avoid messing up and falling into the construct and stuff like that. um and then focusing on make it easier to focus on yourself, because you're not feeding into drama and stuff. And I mean, that goes both ways. That goes for men and women, mostly, I would say, for the most part. For the most
Yeah,
part.
it does.
Yeah, it does. It does go both ways.
Yeah, it definitely does go both ways because at the end of the day, it's like you basically have to weigh the pros and cons, and you basically have to be able to judge and you basically want to I don't know, you basically want to actually be able to judge and people based on their morality and stuff like that for
Mhm.
the most part. And
Mhm.
you basically want to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Shit.
You want to kind of have a good sense of humor, and you want to be able to
Yeah,
not be offended so
you want to
easily,
be able to let
and
things roll off your back when shit comes
because
at
that's
you, especially if
because
it
you'll
sounds
avoid, the situation where you learn because you got offended for situations earlier, and you ended the entire discussion right there. You nipped it right in the bud. And it's just like stuff like that that just blows my mind, because I don't get why people are so upset at how other people view them when they don't even take the time to go into detail about something they've been doing, or they don't want to laugh at themselves, basically, for
yeah.
making a mistake or saying something outrageous. Like, isn't what you just said that, like, something like, isn't that what you just said? Like incels created the red pill or something like that, like that. And then they're like,
Like
they
they
like backpedal on it, and you're just like, wait, but you literally just said that,
yeah,
and
they
it's like,
basically use stupid shit like that to basically make themselves sound way cooler than they really are for the most part. And the sad part about that is the bad sad part about that is they do it in a way where it sounds stupid and they make themselves sound stupid, but they want to try to make themselves sound smart and they want to have a gotcha moment in the process. And it sucks, but like, dude, you suck at it, so let it go. Like you're sucking at this very badly. And if I keep on arguing with you, I'm probably gonna lose a lot more brain cells
you're gonna
arguing with you
look
about this
bad.
shit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in certain cases you can gain subscribers, right? But because it's juicy, but you can lose like the meaning of why you're doing something if you're just trying to make out as a good person in a discussion, like when you virtue signal and stuff. Yeah, it's all true what you're saying, but you're also getting very offended. And it's like, I think that's when you guys start to get offended is when you start to close off the nozzle of information that's actually being received. And you're just basically yelling at another person just trying to say, believe me. And for the people that are following the thread of the conversation, that's all it really sounds like. It's just believe me, believe me, believe me. I can't believe you don't believe me. I'm getting so offended. And most people just tend to or like they'll just say they don't agree, and you're just like, wait, how do you not agree? I just stated a fact to you, and it's like facts don't really line up with how they're feeling at the certain
Yeah.
time, so they try to bend the shit into sounding more like what they want us to believe, and we're like, what? I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, and the sad part about that is like it's just sad to watch people do that or try to, make themselves sound way cooler than they really are, or try to backpedal
Yeah.
on shit that they shouldn't even be trying to backpedal on. And it's like sad watching that happen. It's very fucking sad. And it's very ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wait. 22 new messages in the chat. What is going on?
But yeah, it's just stuff like that that just basically makes it just basically there's a reason for that, and it just makes it so that people are generally not a I don't know. It's just kind of weird with people because they tend to do stupid shit on a regular basis when they argue shit like that for no reason, and then they want to make yourself sound way cooler, but then they sound stupider. But then they want to say, "Well, you're triggered," but like it's like, no, I'm not triggered. You're sounding very stupid, and this is going nowhere.
Right.
In other words, is the best way I could put it. I wanted to say it more eloquently, but I couldn't, and I just went with that. But yeah,
you didn't do too bad. You didn't do too bad. You kind of hit it right on
yeah,
the
and it's
nail.
it's one of those things where it's like, why are we even having this conversation? Do we want solutions, or you just want to argue? If you just want to argue, then we don't need to have this conversation. Then you'll hear them say, "Well, you're obviously triggered if you don't want to talk." Well, no, I'm not triggered. This is pointless.
And
My
then
job
the
is to fix shit,
shorter attention
not
span.
argue over
Yeah.
bullshit. My job is to fix bullshit, not argue over bullshit. And that's typically how that works.
Yeah. No shit. Living out the no bullshit mentality instead of trying to like be like, oh, that's bullshit. No, you're bullshit. What is bullshit? This is blah 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 blah. Why did you do this? Oh my God, that kind of stuff makes me so mad.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's
And
just
everybody has been kind of dragged in, like a spectator has kind of been dragged into the drama now. It's like you have to interact about it and talk about it, or else you're ostracized basically for it. And
definitely.
But you can't necessarily. I mean, if you can't really necessarily let go of it entirely too. I mean, you're always attached to it, and that's why I think like the red pill overdose would be like, I don't know. It would just be like, I don't know. There's more important things to think about than just being all the red pill all the time. And if you overdose, it's like, wow, you can't really take responsibility for anything.
Oh no,
you
you
do.
definitely
And
can't.
I've always said that. And like back in like some of my first videos, like that's what I just really described. It's like, if you're too much in the red pill, you're not gonna be present in your, wherever you're at. You're gonna probably get into like a tremendous amount of trouble. And
definitely.
if you know too much, that's bad. It's like you don't want to know. You don't want to like claim to know it all. That's bad. You'll definitely.
The sad part about that, you don't really know it all. You basically are still gaining knowledge within things for the most part. It's a long process, and the sad part about that is nobody wants to take that long process. Everybody wants to be a professional overnight, basically, and they don't really want to learn how to be that professional, if you know what I mean. So it's like just shit like that just blows my mind when I see people do shit in that manner without, taking the necessary steps to actually improve themselves or make it so they can be a better human being for the most part, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Right. Totally. What is going on now? Is it?
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing. I thought you were paying attention to the chat.
Oh no, I'm not.
I
I
was
stopped
just
paying
thinking,
attention to it after a while because it's
I
starting to get
was
like it's starting to be funny and it's starting to get out of hand and
it's
shit
starting
like
to get
that.
crazy in there.
Yeah.
hmm I like Quasi-Mandius because he talked about how to relate to people, and like he was like, it's ironic because he spends like a lot of time out on a boat, do it
hmm
like with just a crew. So it's like, and I realized that when it comes to your work, they're basically like your family too, especially if you're always there. So how can you talk about, how can you talk about certain shit when in reality it's like you're tied to these people that you just like so desperately want to talk mess on and act like you know everything, you know the truth about everything, but that's not that you're still alienating yourself from other individuals, like other people. So you have to remain connected in a good way and not actually fully go deep down into nihilism for the most part. Like that will only hold you back in terms of where you go with
Oh yeah, nihilism
with your
always holds you
conclusions
back, and the
and
sad
stuff.
part about that is people try to make nihilism seem like it's strength, when in fact it's nothing more than a hindrance. It's basically nothing more than a security blanket that you're
And it's
eventually
but
gonna have to put
the
down and grow up
nihilism
like a human being
the
for the most
nihilism
part.
switches into like being positive when it feels like people are starting to leave its clutches. It starts to say like, oh, but no, it's not that bad. We're all helping each other down here,
Yeah.
because we're all nihilists, and then that's when that person is like being manipulated by the nihilist, which is like,
No, definitely. And the
to
sad
be
part
honest,
about that, like I said,
it's more like, I
there's
was
literally
just
two
gonna say
schools
the
of black
nihilist is
pill for
more
the
like
most part.
they are there too. Yeah, one is like a school, the other one is like a prison.
Yeah. And the other one has two schools that branch off from the other side, basically. Whereas the other one, it's nothing more than a prison that you keep your own personal hell that you literally keep yourself in.
hmm
So it's like one of those things where it's like, do you really want to be here? Do you want to improve? Do you not want to improve? Do you just want to be this person? Do you want to improve yourself job wise, career wise, financially? If not, then what is the point even having this conversation if you're not going to improve yourself? Oh, you basically want it for attention. Got you.
Yeah,
Okay, I see. Like, and there's shit
yeah.
like that. That like,
And well, I don't not to be, and I'm not to like, I do not want to put anyone on blast, but who talks with us, but when we hang out backstage or in the pre-production, you get to hear a lot about why people do the shit that they do, and so that's why we don't really judge each other when we're on the panel.
yeah,
We kind of maintain a certain attitude because of the understanding and stuff, like because we understand each other more, and that's something that a lot of people who are in that nihilism stage aren't ready to do, is understand somebody else's perspective on the whole situation.
yeah. And the
And
sad
partly
part about
because
that is like,
our attention's taken away from us from very early on. There's a lot of distracting things in life that will like promote a person's naivety for the most part, and they just feel like everything is like other people's fault. And then even now you get this radical acceptance thing out there where it says everything is my fault because of like the way that I view other people, and it's just weird. It's like
yeah.
it's so
But the sad
strange.
part,
It's like an inversion now. But yeah,
the sad part about that is like you get that, and it's like, well, that's cool and all, but at the same time, how are you actually handling it? How are you going about it? And the sad part about that is there's all these people that say, well, it's not my fault, or it's my fault, or it's his fault, or it's that person's fault. But at the end of the day, you still have to point a finger. It's kind of like you say, when you point a finger at somebody, there's three fingers pointing back at you. And that's facts. When you point a finger at
right.
somebody, there's literally three fingers pointing back at you. So for every one time you're going to complain about somebody, there's three things that you need to suggest. They suggest you should suggest yourself to change about yourself and improve
hmm
yourself.
hmm
Because at the end of the day, if you're not
Or
going
when you
to,
shift the discussion to being about you, you kind of then be like, well, okay, why is this your fault then? Like, what about you? You're taking responsibility for it by shifting it to you
well, the
instead of
sad part
talking
about that,
about it
are
as
they
a
really
like.
taking responsibility for it, or are they virtue signaling? That's the
I
question
would
you got to
say
ask
that
yourself.
I would say that's for you to decide in case by case basis, but like just because somebody's doing that, yeah, it could be that they're virtue signaling.
Yeah, and the sad part about
because a
that
lot
is,
of the times it's a
and going back to what you said about the backstage stuff, like the backstage talks do happen though, but that's basically so if we didn't talk to the person before, that's basically to get a general feel for the person for the most part, to get familiar with the person and stuff. And a lot of times, even after the live stream's over, we have backstage discussions after the live stream. And the thing about it is, it's more so like a camaraderie or like a job well done, and like basically talk about stuff and talk to each other for the most part because not everybody gets a chance to talk to everybody on a regular basis. So
right.
backstage is always like a good chance to catch up on shit and talk to people real
Yo,
quick. And the sad part about that, the reason why when we come on the show, we don't really pick on each other when we're tolerant of everybody is because of Laszlo's rules. If it wasn't for Laszlo, I think we probably devolve very quickly. But most of us tend to be very respectful to other people any damn way. So I highly doubt we would evolve that
yeah,
badly
for sure.
into debauchery for the
No,
most part. Because
it doesn't devolve. Yeah.
yeah, like I think without Lazo rules, we would actually be able to survive without Lazo's rules, unfortunately, because we get a lot of people on the panel who believe in like wanting to take random pot shots at people or they want to bring their beef to my channel and like I don't have any beef with that person. Why you bring your shit to my channel? That'd be like you trying to bring your
Oh,
laundry
yeah.
to my house and shit like that. Like, nigga, did I allow you to do that? Nigga, did I say you can wash your clothes at my house? And that's typically how people actually act.
They don't know how to do laundry at all.
Like, dude, what?
They're
Like,
bad at
they want to
laundry.
bring their dirty laundry to your house and do their laundry at your house and shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
and they didn't even ask you to do it. They didn't even ask you. They didn't even give you the decency or common courtesy to ask you if they could air their laundry out at your house, basically. And that shit bothers me. Like, cause like what you ain't finna do is bring your dirty laundry to my house and then be trying to display it at my house, basically. Like, I'm gonna need you to take that shit back home and keep it on your person or keep it in
Or
your
put it
fucking
in a
car.
drawer or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Put it somewhere else.
in-
Don't bring it to my
put it in
house.
a
Wash clothes at a laundromat at that point. Because I don't believe in like taking on somebody's laundry who I don't believe in taking on people's laundry if it's not worth my time or my effort or shit like that. Like I said, if the person brings dirty
Hold on real
laundry,
quick. I'll be right back.
okay. Like I said, if the person brings dirty laundry to my channel and I believe that the person needs to be talked about, I will talk about it. But the sad part about that, if you're going to bring dirty laundry to my channel and just to talk about it and just a rant about it, then you don't need to be on my channel, nor do you need to be on the panel. You need to follow the fucking rules. It's one thing if you bring it and I have a problem with something somebody said. It's another thing if you bring it just to be basically using it as a bludgeon and stick for the most part. It's typically what I mean by that. But it is what it is. And
Did you ever delete videos on your channel because of personal reasons, not because of like because it didn't fit?
No, actually not. Like I've only channels that I've ever had deleted from my channel was because YouTube says it's not deemed uh it breaks the guideline strikes for the most part. And I have a shit ton of I had a shit ton of videos that just got removed from my channel just because YouTube didn't deem it guideline material. So I never delete videos from my channel. I just basically I'll try to fight it if YouTube says it's wrong. Then I'd be like, you know what, fuck it, take it.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the videos that are on my channel anymore are basically struck down. And a lot of the videos that were on my old channel was really struck down because somebody gave me my final strike on my last channel. So yeah, so it's like one of them things where like my whole entire channel had to go because of that. And it's just shit like that, like because people get hot and bothered and they do stupid shit like that for the most part.
Which I never got. I've never reported a single anything on the internet ever. I don't even send read reports back when I do stuff on.
I ignore shit like that.
Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense to me why people do that, and then it starts to make sense after I start to study the red pill and like the red
Can you
pill.
wash your armoire at my house? You're simple, Obi-Wan. Can you wash your
I'll bring this in from the backstage because I remember we were talking about it and I wrote it down. Was that the thing that we were discussing is like a red pill space versus a male space. Like not
Mhm.
everything is a red. Not every place that's red pill is like a male space. And I think for the most part, the red pill space is like not a male space. Not necessarily. Like just because you have the male space does not mean that it's real red pill. If you know what I mean. Oh dear. Oh
Mr.
dear.
Foreman in the house.
Oh my God! Somebody put the 5 rings of the Power Friends together, and now shit is like Cartoon Network up in our fucking chat right now.
Right? So enough is like Cartoon Network out this bitch.
We got Chowder, we got Futurama, or not Futurama. Yeah, we got
Chowder, we got
Code Lyoko,
Futurama, we got
we
fucking
got Code Lyoko,
yeah, we got fucking
Inuyasha, we got
Inuyasha, we got
Samurai
what's the
Jack,
one? Yeah, what's the one with the little kid?
Dragon
The
Ball
little
Z,
kid.
and
No, the one with the
Bill and Ted, Bill and Mandy.
no, the other one with the little that's the little pirate kid.
I don't know. What's his name?
He rides with a whale and shit like that.
No, I don't know.
What the hell's his name? My son was watching that like not too long ago. What the fuck is his name? It's a Cracker Jack? No, it's
Oh, that one's a new one. I don't know.
not Chowder. There's Chowder too. What's the other one with the little boy pirate that pretty much he has a pet whale basically that rides him all over the fucking place and he rolls with an actual pirate. I forget his name. It's too cute.
Yeah.
That little kid is cute and he's like very pure.
Oh, dude, there were so many of those cartoons that was just so pure, yeah, and and like so fun.
Flapjack, that's what it's called. Flapjack. Flapjack, yeah. But yeah, it's just stuff like that that just blows my mind and makes it so like it's I don't know, it's just weird. Like, people do stuff just to do stuff basically. And Shinobi want to talk about can I wash my armoire at your house and shit like that with his goofy ass self. Can I wash my armoire at your house?
Like, I think Shinobi one has overdosed on chicken pills.
Yeah, right? Chicken feet.
His stomach needs to be pumped. The chicken pill feet. The chicken feet pill. Y'all got to take the chicken feet pill eventually because you just realize, the chickens are inevitable.
True story. Stuff like that just makes me laugh.
I try not to hold it against like brothers when I see them doing anything because it's like we're all in this together. We're in this together.
You sound like you watched the Clayton Thomas Battered Husbands Anonymous groups and shit like that.
I haven't been able to watch his videos, but I'm actually subscribed to him because I've been watching.
We in this together. That's what I sounded like.
Yeah.
We in this together.
Yam has his own drama sphere. I do. I have my own little drama. I'm basically the guardian of the manosphere. The guardian art. I'm like publish all the fake news. That's basically what I do.
Yeah. It's just shit like that just blows my mind when it comes. It's just shit like that just blows my mind when you actually see it happen or see stuff coming down the pipe. It's like, really, dude? Why? But yeah, it's just.
What is the purpose of this? Why?
Why, nigga? Why, nigga? Why? And it's just shit like that just I don't know. People just blow my mind half the time. It's like I try my best not to judge people, but like sometimes you have no choice but to judge the motherfuckers. It's like, really, dude.
Oh man, Americans, man, I feel bad, man. I feel bad for you, bro. He said, "We're all stranded in this used gynocentric vajayjay." That's so true.
Pretty sure. Pretty true.
Yeah. Dude, that's very true. Very true.
That's profound right there. I'm gonna make that a quote. I'm gonna make that a quote in unpublished tome. I'm gonna make that a quote in unpublished tome.
and it's like stranded because like if you don't have your support system there with you, like if Tico didn't have his abuelita there, it'd be hard to combat it, like harder to combat it than if you actually had Talia there, or if he had Cartel Princess there to basically like save him from the gynocentric vajayjay, like the used gynocentric vajayjay that's out there.
Definitely.
But when you're
Definitely.
just by yourself,
If I didn't have
oh my
family values, I'd probably be lost. I'd probably be a lost motherfucker for the most part.
I would be a hella lost motherfucker. Are you kidding me?
It's like if I didn't have none of that, I'd be a hella lost person.
Tapos na. It would be over.
Oh, definitely.
If I didn't know anything about family, and I think a lot of it is it's kind of like you get this entrepreneur strain in the MGTOW, in like the manosphere, in league with the red pill, and what it really does to me is it's kind of like the toxoplasmosis gondii. It like convinces men that they need to become prey, or like by giving them this predator mentality, this mindset. The I'm not gonna say it, but the mindset that they need to maximize the life category and kind of forget about let the things about working and spending time with your family, letting those things go to the wayside, and then kind of just like focusing only on how can I make my life the most utility oriented thing possible. I need to have all the resources. I need to have all the muscles. I need to have all of this, all of that, all the computers. And they just go inwards really, and just like I don't know. It's definitely a very ambiguous thing to describe.
Oh, it definitely is. It most definitely is. And like people try to describe it, but they end up not being able to do so.
Yeah,
which really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But you're reading comments now.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
It does. It's crazy to be in or to be without family, or to be without certain things that are essential. And that's why I would never judge a brother just because they might appear to be overdosing of a red pill, or on the red pill or something. It's like, help that person, to speak. And if you can't help to that person, support that person with your with the utmost way in the utmost way you can, by just letting that person grow as an individual and not getting too involved and like forget about all the drama and shit. Just like don't worry about any of that. Just focus on what it is that we were going to say in the first place.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Or focus on improving yourself, or focus on
the whole school thing. The school analogy. Like you never let somebody else that's in the class influence what you're going to say about something. Like you always had your own opinion to it.
Oh, definitely.
Don't add anybody else's opinion.
Unless you went to college and you went with a bunch of liberals, and then you can't really say what you want to say. You basically have to conform to basically the class.
That was me, dude. That was totally me. Yeah. But keep it going. You gotta write all the shit. You gotta regurgitate all the same information to get an A. Come on, let's be honest. What you guys all did, what everybody did, y'all basically conformed. And then when somebody disagreed with you, it wasn't always me. It might have been somebody else. You basically all threw that person under the bus. Let's be honest. That's what you did.
Yeah.
Or if a person wasn't want to pay attention to somebody's sorry ass story about how they got this, that, and the other by this person, and that's why racism is a thing. You just ignored it. They got pissed, and they're like,
"Oh yeah, definitely.
Who hurt you?
I can't believe you ignored me. How dare
I can't believe you ignored me."
They literally pull a Greta Thunberg on you. How dare you?
How dare you?
Right?
How dare you? And the teacher's like, well, hold on, Yam. Let that person speak. What did you want to say? And Yam's like, you just shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about your bullshit ass experience. I'm gonna need you to stop talking. But this was about Immanuel Kant, and you're trying to make it about your fucking like this thing, or like this was about something actually important, or not important, completely useless to you, and now you want to make it all about you.
Yeah, and it's
How
sad when people do
dare
that.
you?
Literally,
Oh my gosh.
literally.
I don't
But
even want to look at the news now because of that. Because like now all the memes are back. I don't even want to look at the memes. I'm just sick of all that whole thing entirely. Oh, but what were we talking about? We were talking about the virtue signaling in college. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's real ridiculous
It's
when you
like
watch versus.
it's like going to in school with children. Children that need attention. They just need so much attention. The professors are great at
Ja Rule is
facilitating that.
crazy. Ja Rule's a trip. Ja Rules is a trip.
What did he
He's
say?
a
What did he
content
say?
creator. You know who he is? Ja Rules, the content creator.
Ja rules. No.
He's a good content creator. He made a comment under my Karen video. He goes, what do you say? I kind of like that. I kind of like that Karen thumbnail, and he has a picture with his tongue sticking out. Like, you
Yeah.
need to stop, dude. That's too funny. But yeah, it's just shit like that. Like,
I think well, like while we were talking about it before, I was just had the thought like, what do you say like Donovan Sharp or like anybody who from like the I hate to just name him, but like the convention 21 convention like George Bruno, all those people. Would you consider those people to be what were we just talking about before?
red pill, manosphere.
No, like the overdose thing.
Um, not really. I consider them more people who participated. I consider them more as grifters than I do overdosers. Um,
That's right, yeah, because I mean they're not really necessarily overdosing on red pill information.
they're just overdosing. They're just overlining their pockets with the money that they're getting from people who
Yeah, like I
generally
said,
actually
like you have
need
to
real help
understand,
and not some
like be
bullshit,
specific.
not some bullshit that they
Yeah,
want to preach, basically.
because it's not just like truth or information that you have to be able to decipher. It's like really just any sort of information
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
at all.
that shit'll set you back what like a couple thousand to $5,000 basically. Why spend money on that when you can spend that same 1,000 on a new wardrobe, a gym membership, and a down payment on a car?
Or if you already have that stuff on investments, and if you
Yeah, on
have
investments,
already
like
have that stuff
invest
on,
in something
you
more
know, in
valuable
your
because
family or your
you
work.
dropping that kind of money on some stupid ass people is just stupid.
Yeah. And if you
Especially
don't have,
because,
if you don't even
especially
have
because,
any of that, if you're
yeah,
even lower than that, if you need $1,000 to like get a house, or $3,000 to like, get something like, don't waste any of that on some becoming the structure of somebody else's
yeah, like dude,
money
it's all about
scheme.
yourself. It's all about improving yourself. Nobody can improve you for you. It don't matter how much money you drop. You're not going to improve nobody's going to improve yourself for you because like they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It's just facts. At the end of
Mhm.
the day, what a lot of those people do, what a lot of those people do is like they basically grift people in the time, and it's basically no different than pickup artists or people who wants to play wingman or women always shaming people to go back to the plantation. That's basically what it is. It's a nice Ponzi scheme to shame people to
Well,
go back to the plantation
I think
for
I
the
think
most
that
part.
the reason why MGTOW gets a lot of transient people in it, like almost sort of like a hotel, people that don't ever leave, is because it's a philosophy. You have some people who want to stay and they want to teach in the philosophy and they want to keep it going. They want to add to the discussion and they don't want the discussion to die out because the discussion is where they achieved enlightenment in the first place, if you know what I mean. Like it's not
Hmm.
necessarily like they were red pilled their whole life or something. That's how some people actually need someone staying in the discussion because we're not at the right age, we're not of
Oh,
age
congrats,
to receive
America DeVille.
information.
Congrats, basically
But
on
I
that
agree with
nephew.
you. I agree with your initial question is like, can we overdose on MGTOW is something that we should
Yeah, you can overdose
is
on
definitely.
MGTOW, just like you
Yeah,
can overdose
I
on
agree.
red pills because
I think
what I
that's
noticed in
totally possible.
MGTOW and like a lot of the red pill group, the red pill community and manosphere in general is you can overdose on each of the things. You can overdose on red pills. You can overdose on black pill. You can overdose on MGTOW, you can overdose on IPMOR, you can overdose on SYSBM, you can overdose on any fucking hell. You can overdose on being an MRA if you want to. The sad part about that is what overdosing and MGTOW looks like. It tends to look like groupthink, if you know what I mean. Think of it like groupthink. That's typically what overdosing on MGTOW is. When you stop being an individual and you start acting like a group or a collective, you've officially overdosed on MGTOW.
Now, is that the case with all overdoses, or is that just the overdose of MGTOW?
That's basically an overdose of MGTOW. If you overdose on MGTOW, you tend to fall into groupthink, and you tend to like fall into like the line of a gang mentality or a group mentality, and y'all go and jump on somebody for no reason whatsoever, all because like nobody was thinking, all because it sounded like a great idea in a video that you heard. Now you're over there, jumping on people, and you realize,
Or
wait,
like,
why
you
did
know
the hell
that
did I
episode
do
from
that?
the episode of The Wire where all that they're in the jail and D'Angelo says no to the stuff, and all that
Uh-huh.
stuff gets laced that night, and everybody starts having like a freaking they start having like seizures and stuff, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I missed that round all because I said no. And it's kind of like this spiritual awakening thing that happens where it's like you realize like, oh shit, I could have definitely had um, that happen. So why not stay here and help somebody else move on? And that's the kind of thing that makes it difficult to differentiate who's doing what, and who's actually thinking like an individual, because a person could just it's so likely that you could be wanting to help when you're not really helping, because like I said, you can lead a horse to water but you can't make him drink.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's hard to divide the line, and why saying like hold the line doesn't really make sense, because it's like, okay, well, you held the line for X amount of time, well, what's next? Are we still on the battlefield? Why are we still on the battlefield? We've been holding the line. What
Well,
isn't holding the line when like you're retreating to higher ground so you don't have to hold the line so goddamn much?
or isn't it like about regrouping and coming back with a better tactic, or
Yeah, why
maybe
like not
maybe
spending
forming
resources?
a
Yeah.
like? And the sad part about that is it's all cool to hold the line, but at the same time, you have to ask yourself, wait, why are we on defense?
If we're on
Why
defense,
are
we
we
had
on
to be
defense?
planning like we had to
Why
be
are we
planning
defending
like
ourselves? Is in
yeah.
all technicality, if we're men going our own way, then why are we defending ourselves? We're
It's
going
like
our own
defending
way.
the faith. It's
It
like
shouldn't
defending
even
the faith.
matter if it shouldn't even matter what
Dogma.
people think
Yeah.
about us because we're going our own way, and that's
And that is
typically
an
how that actually
overdose.
works in
That's an
the
overdose
MGTOW
on
community.
MGTOW.
When you like, why are you holding the line? Why are you defending yourself? You shouldn't have to defend yourself if you're going your own way. If you're truly going your own way, there's no need to defend yourself for the most part.
Right. That is so true.
And the sad part about that is what a lot of people do is they tend to fall into that niche when it comes to shit like that, and they tend to just do it on a regular basis and not really realize that they're doing it for the most part. And the neat thing about that is like when you, because like not all groups, not all ideologies actually have group think for the most part. Only some do. And the sad part about that is some go extreme with it, and some go like off the deep end with it for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of hate groups that actually get attached to a lot of the philosophies and ideologies for the most part in the same process. And the neat thing about it is red pill, if you overdose on red pills, just if you're a red pillar only and you overdose on red pills, you tend to go off the deep end, and you tend to like people like it's kind of like we were saying at the beginning of the stream, like, dude, you probably should get your stomach pumped because your ass done overdose and your ass is going to die. It's basically like literally overdosing on pills in real life when you overdose on red pills,
Like
because you tend to go off the deep end. You seem to sound like if you basically look like the one crazy guy with tinfoil hat at that point that's just yelling obscenities at the world, or the drunk homeless guy that's just yelling and cussing everybody out for the most part is typically what you look like when you overdose on red pills. Because I've never actually seen, well, besides the one group over there, we're not going to say their names. I've never seen group think within red pill like except for that group over there that I'm not going to talk about, which I don't really consider them red pill. I don't really consider them red pill at all because at some time you actually got to acknowledge that you're taking advantage of men. You're talking about teaching men and making men better, but you're taking advantage of the men that you claim you're teaching. So therefore, you're not.
And it's virtue signaling, and they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't. Or half the time when they're denouncing someone, they don't even know the audience. Like they completely mischaracterize the audience.
Oh,
and
definitely.
Therefore piss people off from the philosophy. It's like, wait, this is what I'm agreeing to? Getting like from this guy? No. And it's the credibility of the person is only as good as the credibility of the information. So then when when you try to boost your credibility by, kind of throwing your weight around, and then you have good information, it's kind of like people see through that immediately, and they don't like being deceived. Like no one likes being deceived. And
nobody does, definitely.
That kind of stuff. And yeah, I was going to say that about the stuff because the people I was asking you about, I had watched previously, and those people are like under fire, I guess. But like, and then now people who like get dolls are shamed. Like, I don't personally have one because that's not feasible for me to do. But I don't judge anybody for doing something like that. And then if you do own it, it's kind of like that same thing. Like, why would you spend it on that when you could spend it on something else?
Yeah, and it's like I don't knock people. Something. Like, I'm all about like, look, dude, if that's what you like doing, do you to the 100% of you. I'm not going to knock you for your preference for the most part. However, if it sounds less like a preference and more like a want. Or if it sounds less like if it doesn't sound like something that you really want or something that you really believe in, or you've actually thought about it, then I'm going to talk shit on you. However, if you really wanted it and you believe in it and you have convictions in it and it's something that you believe that you want it yourself, or believe that you need it yourself for yourself, then that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. It's kind of like when I talk about the one KKK member. Like when I talk to him. Like, I don't agree with what he says, but if you believe in that strongly, then do you, pimp. All I can do is back you because that's your beliefs and that's your belief system, and it doesn't sound like you've been preached it, and it sounds like something that you honestly believe. So if you have conviction in what you believe, I can't hate you for it. I can only congratulate you for it and actually respect you for it. I may not like it, but I respect you for it. Whereas, like, there's people that go, I believe this, and like you start talking to them, and it's like, they start getting very shaky and they start getting very like they start like going back and forth, and they start losing their conviction, and they start have like, you actually see the internal struggle in them when they're actually trying to explain it to you. Like, do I really believe this or do I not really believe this? It's like one of those things where, like, you ever see those cartoons where like the good angels is on one shoulder and the devil's on the other shoulder? It's really like they're having that internal struggle within themselves to explain why they believe this and why they believe it in the way they do for the most part.
Oh yeah, and that's like it. And then the attention that they gain from that when they're in front of somebody who they see as meat is just so much. It's just intoxicating. That's why they continue to do it. They just continue to spout off and they share more and more and more about themselves, and that's like it's learned behavior, and it kind of creates like this endless cycle of just continually doing it because you get so much attention from it, and that's why I think we view attention with so much value, and it's like not a lot of people really want all the attention that they get when they do stupid shit. Like,
oh, definitely nobody really wants all the attention that they get. I mean, that's just a given. Like, nobody ever really wants that. I mean, it's just true.
Yeah.
But like, it ends up happening where a lot of people end up like falling into that, or then a lot of people, like, you got the people who are like attention junkies who base everything they do on their sub count, basically. Like, I have this many subs. Like, then you look at their video views.
Smash that like button.
It's not even that. That's fine.
80 iPods we're gonna throw 80 iPods into a pool of water.
No, it's not even that. It's like, it's just the fact that, like, that's fine. I don't care about that. It's like, when people gloat about their sub count, but when you look at their sub count, the view count, it's like, dude, your sub count to view count is lower than my actual sub count to view count. How can I take you seriously? How the hell can I take you seriously when your sub count to view count is way lower than my sub count to view count?
Mhm.
Like, it's just shit like that that just blows my mind when they talk about, I got this many subs, but your view count doesn't match your sub count, or you have like under 30% of the people watching your videos or engaging your
Yeah, your
videos.
videos. Yeah.
Yeah, like, or, even liking or watching or anything above all the above, basically. It's like, dude, how are you even remotely gloating about you getting less than 30% of your sub count, basically? Like, how's that even a fucking thing? And like, because like I noticed my videos do more than 30% of my sub count. Like,
Yeah.
it's like it's amazing, and it just amazes me sometimes. Like, I can't believe I got that many views, or like, wow, that's interesting. That must have struck a chord with a lot of people, and that's exactly how I look at it. I don't look at it like my subs are the
How can
greatest,
I
and
get
I got this many
more?
subs. I don't look at it how can I get more. I look at it like, okay, obviously I'm doing something good. I should probably see what I did in that video, and then probably apply it to other videos for the most part, if you know what I mean. That's typically what I do. I don't really look at it like, how can I get more likes, or how can I get more views and shit like that. I look at it basically like, I'm obviously helping a lot of men or a lot of women or whoever's watching, basically, because I do have a small women base basically on this channel. So obviously I'm helping a lot of people no matter what. And it's kind of sort of enjoyable when you can actually do stuff like that and look back at it and
Oh yeah. It's so
not worry
enjoyable.
about stuff or not stress over which you got or how many subs you got and shit like that for the most part.
Yeah, it definitely is reassuring to know that it's like somebody out there likes listening, and that's why I don't really advocate for muting somebody, banning somebody, chat blocking someone, doing shady shit with the algorithm, with the muting them, audio, tampering with the audio. Yeah, unless that person's been warned like, okay, I'm gonna mute your mic for this purpose, all right? Okay, and now you're muted, because that's more transparent than just like doing stuff shady, doing stuff, and like I don't really advocate that.
Yeah, but you also take reason too. Shinobi one, you're also a small channel, so if you get 20%, that's actually bigger than somebody who has like 6,000 subs or 10,000 subs getting 10%, like 10 or 20% basically. And it's typically way different because you're a smaller channel, so like you actually literally see it versus where it's like it's not even a drop in a bucket for them basically. It's like barely a drop in a bucket for them basically. It'd be like it'd be like $5 to Bill Gates basically for them comparative to you. Where if you see 20%, that's pretty much like, let's just say if you have 100 subs, you see 20%, that's 20 fucking dollars to you, and $20 is great. Whereas to them, if they get 20%, that's like fucking $5 or 50 cents or something like that, comparative to their actual overall views and people who's actually engaged in their video. So it's like one of those things where it's like your videos are doing good because your fan base is a healthy fan base, whereas there's a lot of people that actually have a shit ton of subscribers, but they don't have a healthy fan base in that subscribership for the most part, is what I'm trying to say, to actually sum it up better. Yeah, that's the best way I can sum that up.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm distracted by Lonely in the comments where he says, I'm not going to judge. Not going to judge somebody, but I'll be on them if they judge women for having vibrators. And I think it's like you probably understand a lot about female nature if you're going to get a sex doll.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, then I get what he's saying. But if you do, if you're in that situation when you're considering it, you probably understand female nature and you're not like judging women for having vibrators. I don't know who does that out of anybody
Well,
who
no,
has a
like the
sex
sad, the
doll.
sad part about that is when people actually talk about stuff like that, it's usually to respond to sex dolls.
I'm not trying to gaslight you, lonely underscore. I'm just saying, I don't. It's just I've had a very hard time locating somebody who like would talk about having a sex doll, but also be like
Vibrators are
shame
bad.
women
And the
for
sad part about
having
that is like usually when I
vibrators.
hear people talk about vibrators, they're usually bringing up it's okay for women to have vibrators, but it's not okay for men to have sex dolls. And the sad part about that, how society views that is, well, vibrators are okay, but sex dolls are bad, and that's literally how society views that. Like,
But then it changes. Like it says, instead of saying vibrators are okay, but sex dolls are bad, it's like, okay, vibrators are bad, but at least it's not spending thousands of dollars on a vibrator.
but
It's like,
then if
but
you
then
actually
you know
look at
what?
a woman's
Wait,
jaw,
wait,
and
what?
if you actually look at a
What?
woman's jaw, like she basically spend 10,000. She probably spends that much on vibrators alone.
You
Let
know
it
how
be
many
cleaning.
vibrators
Let it be.
break and like have been found in the trash can? Like a lot of of women
Oh yeah,
like
definitely. Like if
destroy the vibrator that they use because they don't, it's like any person you say like can't have nice things. It's like you break shit all the time. If you're able to buy them in public all the time, like women are, you
yeah,
probably would go through
the
more.
sad part about vibrators is women spend more on vibrators than men do on one sex doll. Because you also got to take consideration too. There's the cleaning solution for it. There's the batteries that you always got to replace. There's there's vibrators that you always got to replace because vibrators don't have a very long shelf life for the most part. So at the end of the day, women spend way more on vibrators than men do on one sex doll. Now, if you're a man that buys several sex dolls, that's just some other shit. Now, you probably need to go get that checked out for the most part, unless you like just having multiple choices on like who you're gonna be fucking tonight. That's one thing. That's a whole nother thing. But like if you have one sex doll, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna make out much cheaper than a woman with a vibrator over time. And that's the cold hard truth. Like I don't really condone it, but I'm not against it. If that's what you do, that's do you for the most part. Um, but at the end of the day, like when people actually like a good example is when I talked about vibrators in my one video. I basically made a preference to because somebody was trying to argue with me that like men have a higher sex drive than women. Then why don't men have vibrators then? If men have a higher sex drive than women, why do women have a drawer full of them motherfuckers in our dildos, but men have nothing but like maybe like one porno, two
Yeah,
pornos
and it's
if they have a higher sex drive
what
than women?
they
The sad
fail
part
to
about that is
realize. Yeah,
the
what they
reason why
fail to realize. Uh,
the reason why women have these sex toys is so they can actually be able to. And the sad part about that is it's funny how how it
not have a
works.
partner and shit.
Or
Not
like
have a
basically
partner.
the reason why women have vibrators and a lot of married women have vibrators. Don't think they don't. The reason why women have vibrators is just so they can deny their man from sex, and they can basically get themselves off. That
Because
way, they
that's
can
all we
hold
want
off.
from
They
them.
can basically hold off from actually having sex with their husbands, because
Yeah,
that's typically how that works. The
because
more they
like I
use
think
it,
typically
the less
that's
likely they are going to have sex
yeah.
with their husband. It's just
I
facts.
think because you don't mean unless you provide facts about something about sex dolls or something. I would say for the most part that doesn't change your interactions with like a female in public. Like it's not going to affect that because all you can really get from them is sex anyways.
Yeah,
And so
and the sad
because
part
a
about
woman
that,
has
like
a vibrator, she thinks that she can treat men
other
like
people,
shit in
yeah.
public.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's typically the thoughts
And it's
that
like
women
you're
have in
trying to
public.
tell me
And the sad part
it's
about
like
that, if you don't
yeah,
believe it,
but like
if you don't
well,
believe it, if you go out in public,
yeah.
if you go out in public when and you listen to women, they'll say some stupid shit like, "Well, I'm not worried about you. I got a vibrator at home." They say shit like that in public. Like,
It's like if a girl was just kind of like negging me or gaslighting me or something just slightly, and I was like, I don't even care about you. I'm just gonna go back home and have sex with my sex doll. Like it's just like if you're open about that shit, it would be that cringy as if you were
well, the sad part about that
if the
though is
girl was to
like
say that because
what
the
you
girls
don't
say that all the
realize,
time.
what you don't realize only underscores they don't just buy vibrators. They don't just buy one vibrator. They buy multiple. Then they buy dildos too, and dildos range in price. So that argument is like very null and void because women just
Hey,
don't buy vibrators. They buy dildos too. And the sad part about
girls
that
pay
is if
for
you
like
actually
Pornhorn because don't you have to be like premium in order to have
Yam.
live stream?
Wait, Yam. The sad part about that is once you actually break it down, the reason why it actually costs more is because they got to buy
It's an
batteries.
investment.
And the sad part about that, the batteries that they got to keep on replacing in those vibrators cost a shit ton of money.
They're so hyped. They're so marked up. Like batteries
Sometimes
are hella
sometimes replacing batteries for vibrators is more than the vibrator itself. Hell,
yeah.
if you go to Walmart right now, batteries are like $7, $8, $9 for like a big ass pack of batteries, basically. Or sometimes it's $20 for a big ass pack of batteries. And the sad part about that is the thing about vibrators, and the reason why I know this is because I used to work at a sex shop. I know about vibrators. I know about the toys.
Mhm.
Women just don't buy vibrators at all. They buy vibrators and dildos at the same time. And the sad part about that is that's because you probably didn't know where her stash was. Lonely underscore. Every woman has vibrators, and every woman has
Yeah, just
multiple.
because.
Don't have like the
Yeah.
little.
Oh my
The sad
God,
part
dude.
about that is
And they're
the
so bad
reason
at
why I know this
hiding.
is
They're terrible at hiding.
women have like the small one called the bullet,
Yeah.
and they basically have that one. You
I've
can pretty
actually
much put
bought
it
one of those
anywhere.
from
And then like they
I
have
bought one
like
of
the
those
big
from
ones
like a
that
bathroom
vibrate. Then they also have the
manufacturer.
dildos also
Yeah.
that don't vibrate. So they don't just buy vibrators; they buy dildos with their vibrators basically, and they'll buy bullets to go with their vibrators basically.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And the
typically how it
batteries,
works. They buy them
like you
both
said,
together.
the
They
batteries
buy it in a
are
package deal.
because you can go into
And
detail about the things that men buy, but it's like the upkeep for those things are like what makes it so
the
expensive. Like
upkeep,
they're
yeah, the
taxed.
upkeep for
That's
that
where
shit
it's
and the
actually
batteries
taxed.
for that shit is what makes it expensive. And the sad part about that, a lot of those dildos actually come with cleaning solution.
Hmm.
And you got to keep on re-upping the cleaning solution on that shit. It's basically the best way I could describe it to you would be like everybody know what a Swiffer is? Like you actually buy the Swiffer broom by itself, it's cheap. When you go to replace the mop heads, it's expensive as fucking hell. Like you want to go to replace it, like the little heads and the little spray and shit is more expensive than a fucking stick or buying one by itself. You're more likely to actually it's much more better for you to it's much better for you to actually just buy a new Swiffer versus buy the cleaning solutions and the pads for the most part. It's just facts. And the sad part about that is when you actually do that, it gets more expensive over time. And oh, trust me, they have more. If you know they have more than one, why are you trying to make an argument about it then?
Dude.
And the sad part about that is like I said, women always buy a big one and they buy the small one. Then they have sex parties and they buy some more basically. And the sad part about that is, yeah, it actually when a woman. You obviously don't know what cleaning solution costs for a vibrator or a cleaning solution costs for a dildo on Lonely underscore. The sad part about that is this is where you're messing up at. You can clean a sex doll with soap and water or dishwater, like dish detergent and water for the most part.
Okay, let's just put it.
Cleaning
Let's just
solution.
try to make it. Hold on, Tino. Let's just try to make it more simple. Okay, let's just say it's like so. Let's say there's one bullet that you don't know about that you've never seen, right? And then she has her regular dildo. All right?
Mm-hmm.
That's two. That's at least two, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, what does she use in the shower? She can't bring the electric ones because those are power, but so she has to get the third one, the suction cup one or whatever. And so she probably hid that from you too. You probably don't even know that that's there.
The suction cup one, yeah. There's a suction cup one.
That's already three other basically dicks.
And then if you want to get original about the shit, then if you really want to get original and take it back old school, there's a shower head.
So it's like your tongue, your dick, all of that stuff, and another guy's dick is already covered for her in her mind if she has access to those three.
And then she has a shower head. It'll either be the rotating one or the one that vibrates or pulses. Like literally, there's more than just one version of a vibrator. Hell, they don't make shower heads just for fun. They make shower heads to actually target women. Like there's shower heads that you literally take off the thing, bring down, and put right there. And the sad part about that is women do that a lot too. And I've seen women actually run water out of the bath and like literally run like the faucet on full blast and actually
dirty. Guys,
clean them and handle themselves that way. And the sad part about that is, like I said, at the end of the day, women have a higher sex drive than men for that reason because women have all these opportunities to basically relieve themselves. Hell, women can relieve themselves without even rubbing themselves.
They just talk to I'm at the in public. They just talk to
and the sad part about that is like people don't even realize that. Hell, I know women that had orgasms. Women have more orgasms than men in a day. It's just facts. But
the lonely, I mean, you're definitely stuck on the $1,000 like mark.
Yeah,
price part. Like,
and the sad part about that, and the thing that people fail to realize,
2 weeks of sex parties, you could spend $1,000.
Women do spend that much money on sex parties. Women spend that much money all the time. Hell, women walk out on minimum from sex parties, spending like $200 minimum. And the sad part about that, if you have 2 sex parties a month, a woman can spend anywhere between $400 to like $12,000 at a sex party.
Okay, let's say you spend $20 on a dildo, right? Then you buy a pay-per-view that's $39.99. That's like premium stuff. That's already $50. That's already you do that enough times in a week, and you've already spent $500. So then you get
Oh,
in
definitely.
2 weeks, and then you're like, oh, you've gotten friends because you're doing all that messed up shit. That's your spending habits will go out of control. You'll see, you can tell that that's what's going to happen before it even happens.
You weren't saying all that. You're basically just arguing something. Now you're saying you would rather just get a chick.
I mean, yeah, shifting. You're shifting it. The
Now you're shifting.
conversation.
Now you're shifting the goalpost for no reason. You argued another point. Now you're saying you'd rather just get a chick when you should have said that in the first place and try to instead of trying to go on this pointless
Saying that
argument
it's
basically. And this
because
is why.
it's
This is
not
why.
that expensive.
This is one of the many reasons why I don't bring you in the live stream because you slow down conversations on some bullshit. Basically, it's just facts. Like, why have this conversation when you could have just said that in the beginning? Now we're stuck on something for X amount of time for no damn reason whatsoever, trying to explain something to you when you could have just said that in the beginning. We could have moved right along.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's just stuff like that. It's like, dude, why? Why? That's not even a debate. That's not even a debate. Like, why bring up some bull crap
To me, like, to be honest,
if you're not really going to argue if you're not going to argue the point any well anyway? Because like I look at it like this. Look, I can argue both points better than you. I can argue
yeah,
why
because
I can argue
you
why a
never
sex toy
dated
is good
somebody.
better versus a sex doll. I can argue all points better than you can. The sad part about that is you just do stuff just to do stuff and you slow stuff down. This is why I don't invite you in the stream. It's not because you have different views. Roseblades has different views than me, and she has way more
I
different
have
views than
completely
you.
different views
But
than
the
you
sad
do.
part about that is she's actually much better at actually putting it out there than you are.
I mean, Roseblade is charismatic with the shit that she says most
Yeah,
of the time.
Roseblades can actually get away with this
She'll
shit
make
because she's
she
actually
can make
more
she can piss Psyche Soap off. You can't
and
piss a
then
guy
make
like
them
Psyche
laugh.
Soap off.
And then make them laugh
Yeah,
about it and joke about the shit. And that's the sad part about that. Like, look, there's a fundamental difference. Like, she can actually articulate and like we always say, and like you hear people say, well, women can't do this, women can't do that. Well, she can do it better than Lonely Underscore can, and do a better
damn.
job of doing it. She can debate both
And
sides
okay,
better than Lonely
now
Underscore
I
can.
want to take the heat off of him. Just like go to Red Pill Mind Palace and look at that. Look at all the videos that she makes on other people. She just, I mean, what she would do to Lonely in the no ox shit. I don't even think I could.
And I'm going to say
I
this:
don't think I could miss
the
that.
sad
I
part
don't think I
about
could
that
miss that.
is
I'd have to be there for that.
Penny Proud is a better arguer than Lonely Underscore. I'm going to put that out there. I'm going to be legit about that shit. Penny Proud is a better arguer than Lonely Underscore. Hands down. She's a better debater than Lonely Underscore, hands down. She didn't even have to try. She's better than them. But
Mass
um,
debaters. That's funny. I like that. I like that. Mass debaters.
like it's just facts. Like I would rather argue with Penny Proud than argue with Lonely Underscore. Hell, I would rather argue with a guy with Down syndromes than argue with a guy with Lonely Underscore. Like legit. Like I'm just being honest right now. Like at least the guy with Down syndrome will have more of a point. It's like, and he can actually debate a lot better. But yeah, that's either
I
here
don't
or
like. Yeah, I don't like arguing about it, but at the same time, like because he brings it up, I do get to go into detail into it because, like, to be honest, it's not really that expensive to actually buy a sex doll, and then to like take care of it because you're not really spending a lot of money afterwards unless you're doing modifications and
Oh
stuff
yeah, if you're
like
doing
that.
modifications, that's a whole nother story. But if you're not doing
Yeah,
modifications, it's just that. Like you basically use soap and
it
water, or
is what it is.
you basically use that stuff. Whereas with vibrators and dildos, you actually got to use a special cleaning solution, or you can mess up your hoo-ha.
And it's not set in stone. Like I hate this characterization of like MGTOW. They all just want you to buy a sex doll. And if you don't, then you're MGTOW phobic. Like you're afraid of MGTOW or something because you can't buy a sex doll. It's like
That's
it's just like
actually
it's not that deep.
not expensive. That's actually not expensive at all because people dump more money on e-thoughts than they dump on sex dolls. Let that sink in.
Yeah, people spend $500,000 of their parents' savings on an e-thought, and they don't
Yeah,
even
like
need to buy.
people drop
Yeah,
five
they don't.
thousand dollars on Amaranth on a regular basis, so that's really not all that expensive.
But yeah, I like the. Yeah, that's you. They bring up a good point. I mean, it is very expensive. But sometimes if you want something, you're willing to pay a lot of money to get it. Like it's different than what a woman or
You
a
might as
man
well if
man
you're
can
going to make
offer a
that
woman.
argument. You might as well because at the end of the day, they do spend more money on e-thoughts than they do on sex dolls for some
Yeah,
fake
like are you
illusion.
saying that?
Hell, I
Are
know
you
people
saying
that
that
spend more
somebody?
money. I know people that spend more money on prostitutes and escorts than they do on sex dolls. I could do this all day. Hell,
Dude,
I worked
not
with a
even
guy.
funny.
I worked with a
And
woman
they're
that has a
increasing
sex
their chances
addiction.
of getting.
I know.
But
I
they're
worked with a woman that has a sex
but
addiction, but
they're
she gets a
increasing
job
their
on
chances of getting a
Halloween.
disease. Whereas, like, if you buy a sex doll, and where you could spend thousands and thousands of dollars treating a disease that you get from a prostitute,
Oh yeah, definitely.
but
I
with
know.
a
I know
sex doll,
people
you
that
would
got
never
diseases and
get a
actually get
disease.
and treat their disease costs more than a sex doll.
Mhm.
Like, dude, you could have got a sex doll and saved yourself from diseases. And
Exactly.
the sad part about that is what a lot of people don't realize is now they're trying to because women actually are there's a rise in women getting STDs. They no longer call it STDs no more. They call it STIs to make it sound less deflammatory. Basically, they call it STIs. It's still a disease, and I'm gonna need you not to have that disease. Like, there's no way you can paint a disease and make it sound like less of a disease when you got a disease. You got a disease. You got a
Or
disease. It's in the
like
story.
it's like it's not gonna last that long. Like it's
Yeah, it's only an
temporary.
infection. Like, no, it's going to be with you if it's hepatitis C. Until they come up with a hepatitis C vaccine, that
No,
shit's going to
that's
be
not
with
an
you. Or
infection.
gonorrhea. No, I mean not gonorrhea. I mean herpes. Herpes is going to be with you. It's a gift that keeps on giving, for the most part.
Yeah, but lonely. How is a pocket pussy like your $1,000 thing? It's not, and that's already not getting a woman. And anyways, like not getting
So
a sex doll is the same thing as a
technically you're
pocket pussy.
supporting simping by saying pocket pussy for the most part. Um, because 9 times out of 10, now pocket pussy is probably made from a mold of a famous porn star, and it
Yeah,
is
you're
what it
like,
is.
oh, I'm pretending I'm fucking this doll, this porn star, when you could be fucking like a real life doll.
Woman, yeah,
You know?
a real
Yeah,
life
like
woman for the most part. Like I don't,
yeah,
like I said, like I don't care what you do with your life behind closed doors. Just don't put it in front of me. I really don't give a damn what you do. Keep it to your
right,
fucking self. Like I don't care if
yeah,
you're gay. If you're gay, do you to the best of you by yourself. Don't have to drag me into that shit. If you're a lesbian, do you. I don't need to be involved in that shit. If you're a straight couple and you like PDA, don't do it in front of me. Do it behind closed doors. Like I don't need to be in your love life and I don't need to be in your bedroom life for the most part.
yeah.
And,
No,
and the sad part about that
that
is like
yeah.
I don't give a damn what you do with your life. I don't care if you fuck animals, fuck dogs, fuck dead people, fuck whatever the hell you want to fuck. Just keep it out of my sight, basically.
Make up fees, make up fees. Shinobi one, make a speech about makeup fees.
And the sad part about that is like people do that on a regular basis, and it's like
Yeah,
ridiculous how stupid people sound when they do that shit. And it's like, well, dude, dude, I don't care if you're gay. You're gay. That's good. Go be gay somewhere else. I don't care. Like, you're gay. Congratulations. Move right along. That's exactly how I feel. And that goes for anybody. You're a straight couple. You're a loving couple. You're any couple. I don't give a damn what kind of couple you are. Just
mhm.
move right along. I don't care what you got going on with you. Just do you. Like, what is the point? Are you virtue signaling that you're a loving couple? That's what it sounds like to me. Then I'm going to need you to keep your ass moving. And that's exactly how I
Yeah,
feel
and
about
that's
shit
the
like
thing. That's the thing about mysticism that people who are liberal and the left
that.
fail to
Everybody wants
realize is
everybody in
that
their fucking business, or everybody wants everybody in their bedroom. Like,
yeah,
no, dude. I like to go
right,
back to everybody mind their fucking business and keeping shit to their fucking self. I don't need to
yeah,
know that you
please.
have this or you want this or that's what you like. If it's something that you like, you should probably discuss that with your significant other or your many partners. I don't need to know about that shit. Fuck
Oh
you,
my
basically.
goodness.
And that's typically how I feel about shit like that. I don't care what you got going on in your bedroom. Do your bedroom. Am I in your bedroom with you? Then fuck off. That's exactly how I feel about bedroom. Everybody else's bedroom. Like,
And
like
the
I'm only
glaringly
using this
obvious
as an
thing, like,
example, so don't be going crazy. Like a good
and the
example.
glaringly obvious thing is like with the left is like they are like a lot of times they're not in polyamorous relationships. They're not
Yeah,
in
Yeah.
bisexual or gay or single relationship. They're not, or heterosexual relationship. They're not in any type of relationship at all. They're just like feet. They don't want to be if it takes too much responsibility at the slightest sign. Like they're probably not. They're like fiercely like I don't know. A lot of psychopathy goes on
Yeah.
on the left, and
It's
it's
like,
just
dude,
like
why do I need to
it's
know
crazy.
about that shit? Like I was saying, it would be no different if, like, I'm just using it as an example because I see y'all names in the chat. If Shinobi one told me he had a sex dungeon, or Lonely underscore told me he had blood pugs, and freaking America's Deville told me he had a swing in his basement or something like that, and a pole in his basement. Like, I don't need to know that. That's your personal business. Keep that to yourself. Like, that's fine. Keep it to yourself, basically. I'm just using that as an excuse. I'm using that as an example, basically. I don't care what you do with your sex life, and I don't give a damn what you do, basically. Keep it to your fucking self. I don't care if you're straight, gay, bisexual, transgender. I don't give a damn. Keep it to your fucking self. I don't care. And that's typically how I view people. Like, as long as you keep it to yourself, I don't care. Why do I need to care about you if I don't care about you? But
Well,
it's
I mean,
just
yeah.
it's just shit like that that just makes me. It's just shit like that that just bothers me when people always talk about that stuff publicly. Like, no, dude, I come from a conservative. I come from a conservative
Besides,
thing. We don't do shit like that. Like, I need you to keep that shit to yourself. TMI much, and it's kind of like the running joke with that Dave Chappelle did when he talked about
like
like white
I
people.
hate to bring this into it, but it's like if you are satisfied with yourself, personally, like whatever you have, like just because Shinobi One mentioned it, it comes to mind. It's like if you have a prepper dungeon that's just like fucking fully stocked, and you're like you feel good about yourself, you shouldn't have to have 8 sex dolls unless you really want to like satisfy your urges. Just like
You know, the
I don't know,
sad part
like
about that,
it's a part about personal wellness and like being okay with yourself that makes it so like I don't have to do this crazy stuff unless
yeah.
I mean unless I'm not shaming anybody. I'm not trying to shame anybody, but I'm just talking about when it's like you see some women who keep like eight different dildo or 8 different like toys or something, but then they're always complaining about how they're lonely or like oh
Yeah.
I'm always complaining about how
And the sad part about
the
that basically,
environment and climate change and all this. It's like, come on, give me a break.
and the sad part about
Because
that
like
goes back to my one series about like relationships.
relationships.
When I do, that's why I'm so VM. Is it a want or is it a need? Is it a want or is it a need? Like, that's typically how I view it. If it's a want, then I really don't give a damn about you because you basically fold to your wants and you don't get shit that you actually need for the most part. Like, do you need the thing or do you want the thing for the most part? It's one thing if you buy all your needs, then you buy a want, or you handle all your bases, then you go buy a want. That's cool. I understand that. But if you're just buying a bunch of wants because you just want to, that'd be no different than like a fucking matter of fact. A good example of that, there was a
Oh yeah,
Steeler player
no
who had
self
a two
control,
seater
right?
car,
Hmm.
but he had TVs and a headrest in a
Hmm.
2-seater car. Like, why would you do that? All because he can.
I mean, at least Lonely's not like some people that we talk to where it's like we're like, "Are you good at saving money?" And they're like, "Nah." They're like, "All
Oh
right,
yeah, that was the
I'm like,
dumbest
save."
excuse. I hated
We're
that
like
fucking conversation.
save $5 every paycheck. He's like, no, I would never save $5 every
Oh, I
paycheck.
don't need to because I got money. Like, why the fuck we having this
Wait,
conversation then?
so why do you wait?
What
If you
was the
have
point of this
money, then
conversation?
why can't you
Like, I
save
will
money?
say that though. I will say that like that was way better than that conversation because that conversation went no fucking where very quickly. Like, nigga, if you can't say $5, then you should be ashamed of your fucking self.
Yeah, I think lonely saves spends. I'm sure lonely spend has better spending habits than that.
No, he definitely
But
probably does. Than that guy.
I
That
mean,
guy
it's
was
all
like
to
just.
me
I
like
wonder how
all
he's
I'm
doing
really
anyway.
concerned about.
I wonder how
All
he's
I'm
doing
really
because I
concerned
haven't
about.
heard from him in a while.
Oh yeah. Me neither. Me neither. I hope he's somewhere. I really definitely do. Yeah. But
Yeah.
one thing is like, all I'm really concerned about is that somebody gets what they need for as little money as they possibly can spend, and then if they have to spend a lot of money up front, and it's an investment, then to me that's better than constantly spending money going on dates, or constantly spending money using or buying new used pocket pussies, or like constantly spending money with like the dildos and stuff. It's like, God damn it, there's got to be a better way. I don't know. And that's why I will encourage people to listen,
Mhm.
is because, you know, there's better ways of bettering yourself and stuff than to just like start spending money that you really don't
Yeah, exorbitant
have on
amounts
the
of
things
money
that
for
you
no
don't
fucking reason
need, just things
whatsoever.
that you want. Yeah.
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 That's just pointless when you're spending exorbitant amounts of money for no fucking reason whatsoever. That's just pointless. Because at some point, you actually got to put aside some money just in case shit happens, like, I don't know, coronavirus, or a power outage in your house, where like it takes out the whole entire block for weeks on end. Like, you got to be prepared for shit. So you got to have all the shit that you need. You can't be scrambling around like at the last minute, like everybody's doing now. Talk about how come there's no toilet paper in Houston? Well, bitch, how come you didn't buy toilet paper before that? Why are you buying toilet paper last minute? Or why are you buying water last minute? Like, it's just shit like that that just blows my mind when people ask. Like,
Yeah.
this one woman did on social media, I shit you not, she goes, well, I don't understand why everybody's buying out all the fucking flour. Because there's probably no other shit that they can buy. So they basically need flour. Well, I don't understand why you got to buy two 25-pound bags of flour. Easy. I can explain that to you. If you know anything about cooking and you like cooking things from scratch, you're going to need that much flour for about a month or two. Depending on how many kids you got to feed in your house or how many adults you got to feed in your house,
Right.
you're going to need at least 25 pounds of flour to basically suit that need. If you want to make, if you want to make noodles, if you want to make bread,
But then they
biscuits,
buy like
and
the
all that
little
shit.
ones. They don't
Yeah,
usually buy the 25-pound bags. They
I'm
buy
just
like the
saying
little
though,
ones.
people were literally buying like the 25-pound bags of flour
Hmm.
because they were literally cooking from scratch because there was a lot of other shit that wasn't in the store that required that, like, if you didn't have it, you basically required flour. And the sad part about that, what people don't realize is all the shit that they take for granted that's easy access. I mean, yeah, they had yeast too. Yeast was sold out too. But the sad part about that
Yeast is
is
hella sold out.
because
Yeah, that's
because
dry yeast.
we have all these quick ready made shit for us, a lot of women and a lot of men basically take this shit for granted because all this stuff is readily available. Then when coronavirus hit, this shit is not readily available. Now motherfuckers need to learn how to go. Motherfuckers up and reading Martha Stewart living books and shit like that to figure out how to make noodles from scratch or figure out how to make
Sorry,
bread from scratch.
Shinobi One. I do that all the time. Don't get messed up if you lag behind in the stream. Just play us on 2x speed and just hear us go like matriculate.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
That's gonna
funny.
sound funny on the playback
Oh,
too
yeah,
if
that's
I
gonna
do that
sound
too.
really funny on the
It's gonna
playback.
speed
Yeah,
up super
that's gonna
fast.
sound super funny on the playback.
All right, all right. I'm gonna do that. I'm doing that. Everybody should do that. All right, red boys. Yeah, and the flour. Yeah, the flour analogy is perfect too. Just like you can either buy the 25-pound bag and not waste gas going back and forth every week after you're done,
Mm-hmm.
or you can buy the small bag just because you know you're in a rush and you're not really planning, and you just then you're constantly going back and forth, and it's like sometimes I just wish that, you know, any guy could just get what he needed for less money, because I see like that's like cause for a lot of problems in the world. Is that like people, or not in the first world country, is like people are just frustrated with getting, not like trying to get things that money can buy, and
Or
it's
people are
really
just
sad.
frustrated with the stupidest of shit. Like, okay, last minute Nancy. I mean, or last minute Lonnie. Like,
Or last minute Mary, last minute
yeah, I know.
Mary.
Like, why is this even a thing? Well, I understand why there's no stuff in the store. How about you buy it online? Well, I
Yeah.
want to go to the store. Well, how about you buy it online because it's online and it's available? How about you just buy it online? Well,
Hmm.
because I need it. When do you need it? For next week. Why don't you just buy it online? It'll come in 2 days. Well, because I just wanted to have it. Well, no, buy it online and it'll be at your house in 2 days.
Yeah, that's why I
Like,
was
quit using excuses
confused. Like,
not to. Like,
why
quit
are you
using
people out
excuses.
right now? Yeah.
Quit using excuses not to actually be proactive. And this is what a lot of people fucking do, and I hate this
Uh-huh.
shit. They'll use a shit ton of fucking excuses to not actually do what they need to do to actually fix the shit that they need to do or do what they need to do.
Uh-huh.
Well, I really want to go to the store. Well, how about you just buy it online? Well, I really
Well,
want to
like
go to
the
the
thing
store.
is,
Buy it online. Why
I'm
you
sure
prove it?
that
Why can you
when I
buy it
was younger,
online?
and I didn't get it, this is the same like phenomena that like race hustling kind of promoted back in the past. Like when people were like, well, why aren't you, doing something with your life? Ah, because the white man's bringing you down. This, that. It's like,
They're like, no, that's
oh,
not
because
always a
that,
white man bringing you down. Don't get me wrong. There are some people that are being done wrong by white people, but not all
yeah,
people are being
no,
done wrong by white people. Like,
no,
not
it's just like
everybody is catching the same
whole
treatment.
the thing that's getting to people to fall asleep now is just like the whole coronavirus thing.
Yeah.
It's just like basically making people stop thinking and just be like, oh, that's just is the way it is the way it is,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna. Oh, so did you kind of want to wrap this up because this has been
Yeah,
going?
what the heck? It's been going on for a
Why
while.
not?
Might as well wrap it up.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure the philosopher here, aka Barry Yam, aka Red Pill Peddler, aka Vicious Verse Nightmare, aka MGTOW Live Program, aka Jam He. Subscribe, like, comment, if share the video if it got this far. Please, give lonely underscore some validation in the comment section below. Support him if you like, and support Penny Proud, and support America's DeVille, Shinobi One,
Mr.
Pence,
Forma, Pence,
Forma,
McTown to win,
um,
Double I, aka Lost
support
Dance,
anybody who's in here.
True Sherm, do Zangs, even though he doesn't make any content.
Just support his empty vessel.
Yeah. And Psyche Soap too is a good person to support.
Give us a give everyone the. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Hope that you guys enjoyed it.
Definitely. This is Tico Trent, aka the Internal Sadist, aka I just bent your mom over the counter, aka I just did your aunt on the sink.
Oh no kidding. No kidding.
AKA your girl sucking my dick. No, I'm just
Stop
joking. No,
playing
I'm
with
just
them.
joking. No, but y'all have a blessed night and be good. And I basically did this live stream because Yam couldn't be in the earlier live stream, so I basically do live streams with Yam later in the day so he can feel like he's a part of the team and not feel like he's left out.
Subscribe to Kingy Make Tao.
Yeah, definitely subscribe to King and MGTOW too.
Yeah.
And y'all stay good and stay on y'all path and do what y'all do and only validate yourselves. You don't need nobody to validate you. Validate your motherfucking self. Y'all be blessed and have a good night. Peace.
Later. Nice.